And we're live.
And we are live. That is right, folks. It is Thursday night. It is 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. So you know you are checking out PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM back again. It is October the 27th, 2022. Gamers, listen, it is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Eve. I hope you're all excited because I know we are. If you're not, plenty of other stuff out there to play as well. Games have been dropping every which way. Listen, wasn't the biggest week of news, but as you can see, we've got a special guest tonight. We do, and you know what that means. You know what that means. First timer, he gets a special intro. So, let me tell you something. In the brief history of PM and the PM, Mav and I have had the privilege of hosting some legends in this community. Tonight is no different. However, the legend visiting us tonight happens also to be a king. This king is a man of culture, partaking in the enjoyments of combat sports, comics, fine dining, fine arts, especially statues, gaming, and many more. This king is a collector whose legendary collection of the aforementioned statues is only outdone by his collection of knees from friends and foes alike who dare bet against him. Speaking of, where does the king's betting prowess come from? Perhaps like the kings of old, he has an oracle. Nay, this king is himself a seer, whose prognostications have an unbelievable, King, correct me if I'm wrong, 96% accuracy.
98, sir.
98% accuracy. Yes, that is right. This king has bestowed titles throughout the lands which have now been recorded in the annals of history, such as Phil, Dominus, Maximus, Aurelius, Spencer, and Little Man. This king is a slayer of fanboys and narratives alike. Beware any who come for this king without first being summoned. This king is This king is the creator of Twitter movements like Fraud Alert. Who did that for you? Stop snitching. All Natty, among many, many others. I could carry on about the deeds of this king, but time is short and we have a show to do. So I will end with this. The king with us tonight is most importantly an old school gamer whose breadth of knowledge about the industry and history of video games is matched only by his passion and infectious, fun-loving attitude towards this hobby and community. Chat, please put the clap emojis up for our special guest traveling all the way from the ILP realm, King David. Sir,
yay!
Welcome to PM and the PM. Welcome.
Oh my God. I'm going to clip that and I'm going to show it to Cognito and I'm going to say, surprise, you have competition. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Mav set this up a minute ago. And, you know, he was just like, yo, what works with you? What's going to happen? And I'm like, okay. And we picked a day and, you know, he reminded me like last week, hey, I love Mav. Like I was telling him, you guys before, one of the few content creators that is like, when I'm getting ready to go to bed, he's getting his gaming in. And usually he's playing games that I like. And I told my wife, I said, look, you know, like he's going to show you about this game or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. And, you know, she's like, well, this is what you like to watch to go to. I said, yeah, Mav relaxes me.
Right on.
Because he's not screaming. He's not yelling. You know, he's like into the game. He's playing the game. He's talking about the game. So I told you, you're in the algorithm now in my house. So I just love it. So
yeah, I appreciate that, dude. It means a lot. That's to come from you. You know, and like you said, like, sometimes we don't know who all is like lurking in there, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
but I've heard from a few people that they lurk in the nighttime streams and stuff like that, while they're chilling in bed at night, and that's awesome to hear, man. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, there's not too many nights that Mav isn't got something going on. So a lot of people do catch him. It's been part of his growth. But King, appreciate you. I've told you before, we've done podcasts together. It's been a while, but again, what you and the ILP got going on over there is inspirational to a lot of us who started in this community, including myself. So again, it's always an honor to talk to you, sir. And tonight is no different. So we appreciate you giving us your time. I know we are a little bit limited on your time, so we are going to try to get things moving. But have you been playing anything recently, King? I know you're the Game Pass King as well. Like
I was
whatever
just about to
drops
go
to you. Yeah, I know. So what you been got going on?
All right, so I was been playing Proteus. I'm really addicted to the game for some weird reason. But Scorn, right? So Scorn dropped, and my son is playing Persona 5. He's just like on it, and I have Persona 4 for my PlayStation, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me jump into this Persona 5 when I get a chance. It will probably be at the end of this week, because we have God of War coming, so I'm gonna have to clean the slate for that. But I noticed Xbox dropped a bunch of scary games inside Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, snap. So I downloaded them and I plan to play them all this weekend. Me and my son is going to play them with the lights off. A lot of, scary games, first person stuff that's in there. So the Soma games that I'm not familiar with, but look absolutely horrifying and terrifying. So I just can't wait to dig into that. But Game Pass all the way.
Nice.
And
More
Fortnite.
power to you. Yeah, and Fortnite. You always do
Fortnite.
get Fortnite in, which is cool. Because I know you use that to keep in touch with your son. You guys got that connection, that bond. That's amazing. That's the way me and my kiddo used to be too. So I appreciate that. But more power to you on the scary games, King, because that's not me, brother. I can't do it. Okay, I can't do it even during Halloween season. Now, Scorn, I can do Scorn because it's slow, because it's not jump scares. That is an artistic more game to me. It's more psychological than anything, and I love H.R. Geiger. So,
can I ask you a question? Yeah, I love his stuff too. I'm so like with Prometheus and Aliens and stuff like that. I loved his artwork. I've always did, especially when it was like I think it was like a Mad magazine that had like a small section of it, and I used to read Fangora magazine, so I was very well versed in Geiger stuff. But how did this game to me, and I just want your opinion on it. This game to me, when I stepped in it, the world, the atmosphere, I was just so engulfed in like looking at every little thing. Did you have that same like detective feel in it?
Yeah. No, I actually put out a tweet about it. I was stopping, literally I had to stop almost at every corner, and I had to look around, and I was taking screenshots galore because the intricate detail that was a part of this, like you said, there was something new to look at or something new to find within the wall textures. Like it was crazy. Like I was like, oh my God, I didn't even see that before. So yeah, no, I feel like this is, and I think I first heard Jez talk about it on Xbox 2 too, was that he said it was like a walking art gallery, and that's kind of what it's like. It's for me. I know people got complaints about the combat, whatever else. That's fine. I don't think that's what the game is about. The game is more about discovery and the puzzles, and I just really, again, I felt like I was in the middle of a Prometheus ship in the beginning. Like I was just dropped into the aliens world, like out of the blue. So yeah, no, I was the exact same way, King. Same way. Yeah, no, absolutely amazing.
Exploration, just incredible.
Oh, incredible. And then when you get to other environments too, they change it up. It's oh my God. It's exciting. But we do have somebody else with us tonight, and he's a regular here. In fact, his name is on this channel. That's right. We got Fun Speculation, aka Mav, the king of this kingdom here. Mav, what you been doing this week so far, man?
Playing this and that, working still and doing all kinds of things. I've been playing more Gotham Knights, and
nice.
I do love the game. I do feel still like it's held back in some ways because of the shoddy performance, right? But overall, there's a lot there to love. I did dabble in Scorn, and I gotta say, like when I first started it, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" I don't know what I was doing. I walked around and, like I said, I put my fingers in as many holes as I could possibly find. And nothing was happening. And I was like, which holes do I got to put? I was finding the wrong holes, I guess. I don't know. So eventually I found the right holes. Thanks to the chat, helped me guide the way. And once I got past that opening sequence, then it really started kind of clicking and became more like streamlined about kind of having a direction of what I feel like I knew what I was supposed to do. So I was really enjoying it. That is one I think I'm gonna finish, but there's just so many damn games right now, and I'm such a grazer like you, Pong. So I've been playing this and that, and I still got my 2K addiction right now. You know, I can't shake it. NBA 2K has got its hooks in me. But yeah, but besides that, also, God, what other game have I been
Are you a
playing?
V-Bucks dude? Are you one of those guys?
V-Bucks, yeah. So we actually subscribe to like the monthly V-Bucks thing for my daughter. You know what
That's
I mean?
smart.
So it was actually saving us money. But I used to play a lot of Fortnite, and actually, if you look at my like, you remember when Xbox did like the 20th anniversary thing, and they had like the
Yeah.
interactive thing? I was shocked to see that my most played game last generation was Fortnite.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, really? But yeah, it was Fortnite, and we played the shit out of it for so long. And I used to wake up every day, play a couple games of Fortnite, kind of helped me wake up, and then I'd move on through the day, right? But
Yeah.
I haven't been playing as much lately, but it's something we all do enjoy in our house. We kind of stop back in every once in a while, but it's an event whenever there's a new season. And
Yeah.
Fortnite, like, and it used to be even bigger than it is now, because I feel like they kind of toned down some of the stuff that happens when the new seasons roll around. But
Yeah.
when the seasons first started rolling around, it was always this crazy anticipation, and it was like we all had to tune in and see what was going to happen. And then they started with the cool concert stuff and everything, and
Yeah.
they kind of paved the way with a lot of awesome stuff. So I was kind of on the Fortnite train before a lot of people now are kind of starting to get into it all of a sudden, right? It's like, hey, this isn't so bad after all.
Well,
Um,
when they put that no build
yeah,
in,
it opened it
I
up for a lot
think
of
that
people.
opened it up. I mean, it opened it up for me. And
Yeah.
then the Dragon Ball Z thing, my wife saw me. She thought I was watching anime, right? And I was like, no, I'm playing a game, but we're all sitting down watching the show. It's bonkers, the stuff that they can do with that game.
Yeah. I always find it funny when the people started playing it with the Dragon Ball stuff, and
Yeah.
these streamers on TikTok and everything started calling like, hey, did you like, I'm going to do the Kame haha. Did y'all see that? The people started mispronouncing it all over the place and stuff. It was absolutely crazy. But yeah, it's Fortnite's pretty cool, man. But yeah, I've been dabbling in just in lots of different stuff.
Awesome.
But you know, I think Gotham Knights is gonna be something that's I'm gonna be playing a lot. But I'm still mostly hyped about what's coming around in December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some awesome stuff coming in December, bro. So
Yes.
can't wait
Very
for that.
awesome stuff coming.
My November is lit. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never been so happy to be so wrong about a game that people think I don't like, but I do like.
Right.
So that I do have to give, bend the knee as soon as I, download the game, to Attic. But I think, because I do want to finish the story. I was so upset with the fact that, I saw Asgard in the first God of War, and I had anticipated getting there, right? And the fact that, there wasn't a thought of getting there, and, now I just want to see it. I just want to see what's their rendition of it, because Midgard looked really good. I just want to see what their Asgard will look like.
Yeah. No, I think you're going to be. I think everybody who's going to be playing God of War is going to be blown out of the water. I think this quietly has been built out. They got our hands on deck. We went through the whole, it's just DLC and all that BS or whatever else.
Yeah.
What Sony Santa Monica did here was, Barlog's original idea for DLC, but this is going to be that full-blown God of War experience that you've come to expect. And they're just, what I've seen so far is they've just built on exactly what they did best in the first one. They just added to that and then brought in some more, like the grapple kind of effect. They've allowed some more jumping attacks, that kind of stuff. Not actual jumping, you still can't jump, but you can do some jumping attacks, right? So they've just added to what they already, again, which is by many people considered one of the greatest games.
And that's what a good sequel is supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Like, you're supposed to take what people love about the first one, and you take that and you blow it up and you expand upon it and give even more and a fresh take on it. So I think that God of War Ragnarok is probably going to be a special game for many. I still got to finish 2018 though, because that was one that just midway through I kind of always started checking out, and
Are you serious?
I don't. It's a me problem. It's not a God of War problem. I'm not shitting on God of War, everybody. I think it's a fantastic game.
I had somebody DM me today because we was talking about PlayStation, and I was like, yo, I can't wait till next year to get that Spider-Man 2 if it actually, ships next year. And he was like, oh man, I should catch up and finish Spider-Man 1. And I just was like, nah, I should block you. He's like,
Not every game for everybody, King,
Yeah.
right?
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, and I won't be getting Ragnarok day one just because of that. You know what I mean? I think like it's something I'll get either when it hits like a PS Plus collection or PS Plus Extra,
Yeah.
or when it goes on sale at some point down the road, like sometime like 2 years from now, because Sony stopped putting their games on sale.
Or when it comes on the PC.
Or when it comes, my PC sucks ass. This is the only thing my PC is good for. So I'll be playing Ragnarok eventually, but it's not like a day one for me.
Okay.
But Spider-Man 2 will be for sure, because I love Spider-Man 1 for sure. It was awesome.
I'm just glad I'm not one of those guys, because I'd be itching right now not having a PS5, right? So neither God or
Well, you don't need a PS5. You got PS4. You good?
Yeah, I sold my PS4, King. I sold my PS4. I was done. I was done with last gen.
Will,
right?
will the
So-
Pro do? Will the PS4 Pro do Ragnarok at 60 frames?
Ooh, that's a good
I
question.
don't think so.
I don't
Probably
think so,
30.
though. Probably
30, yeah.
Probably 30.
I would imagine so.
I remember
It's
the
gonna
other
be
game I was playing. It was a campaign for Call of Duty.
Yeah, of course you were, because you finished it this week as well.
Yeah, and it was fucking awesome. That
Wait a
was so
second.
good.
Wait. So you was one of the pre-early guys that they got it, and you already finished the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
the
both have
campaign's
now.
pretty short. It's only like 6-7 hours, probably something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's incredible.
It's a typical old school first person shooter campaign in its
Yes.
length. You know, which I actually
Right.
appreciate that, because for the guy that doesn't finish a lot of games, it's actually allowed me to finish
Perfect
it.
for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, and it is really good. I know there's been some discourse around it, and some people have some big thoughts on the Call of Duty campaign, but that's what I did this week. I got Persona time in on Sunday night last week. I actually got almost 6 hours in a Persona 5, but this week with my schedule and everything else, I need chunks of time for Persona.
Mhm.
I can't play Persona for an hour and shut it off. Okay, that's just not how it works. So
Yeah.
this week has been finishing up Call of Duty campaign as well, and I just finished it last night. Perfect timing to start the multiplayer crunch now at this point. But the campaign is absolutely stunning. I enjoyed it a lot. I know some people have some qualms with some of the different missions, but that's always what you get. Not everybody's happy with every single mission in a Call of Duty game. I thought just overall the story was done very, very well, even if it's tropey, whatever. I don't care. That's why I play Call of Duty 4. But the graphics, everything about the game hits. Infinity Ward has brought the bar back up again for Call of Duty for me. Again, this is the most hyped I've been about a Call of Duty in a very, very, very long time. I have not had the desire to play a Call of Duty day one, since probably World War II was the last one, just because I'm a history buff. So
Yeah.
World War II games always get me kind of excited. But that was like the last one I was really this excited for. But this one's even on another level, just because I played the beta, and the beta was unbelievable. Most polished beta multiplayer I played probably outside of Halo Infinite. Just incredible. So I'm getting ready to hop onto that tonight. But otherwise, that was my week. I played Call of Duty and got through it. So that's been it for me. Chat, you are absolutely amazing. We've already got people in here. We got a ton of people in here already. Listen, Sith Lord, $2, $2 super chat. King, you need these guys on ILP. It's good to see you. Sith
Oh,
Lord,
thank you, Sith
very
Lord.
much.
Yeah, me and Sith Lord talks in the DMs. That's my guy. Definitely. 100% Sith Lord.
Awesome, dude. And then Kaitlin, member for 15 months. Kaitlin, I don't ever remember seeing you here. Where are you new? Are you new? Thank you. Quit lying, Mav. You will be getting it day 2 at least. Oh, she's calling about on the God of War. She's calling about on the God of War. He's gonna wind up getting it. King, he said he wasn't going to get Gotham Knights. He was on the train. 30 frames, not buying. Guess what happened? He bought it. In under 48 hours, he had it, right?
I'm still on the fence with Gotham Knights, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the 30 frames. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with I don't trust Phil, right? So like I feel like the moment that I get it, he's gonna surprise and be like boom, and it just makes me gun shy with a lot of games. Like I'm just like, because every time I do it, he does it. So
King, you're not supposed to be that way, man.
I'm scared. If it's on PlayStation, I'm like, I know it ain't going to Game Pass. But these guys got me shook.
But King, that's a problem. You're not supporting a dev. You just don't want to buy games because you're a poor Xbox player.
Yeah, okay, I'm a gamer, and gamers are cheap. So all I didn't support the devs. My Game Pass is paid for. However they get their bread is how they get their bread. I'm here to just play games. I don't care about the business side. I don't care about none of that stuff. I go back to the wholesome part of it, right?
Yeah.
And the wholesome part of it is I've seen a lot of these companies come and go.
Yep.
Right. And I'm not going to get caught up in the plastic of the box. Yeah. I'm going to get caught up into the games. Like Bonk's Adventures, when Bonk's Adventures drop. NEC is no longer here. TurboGrafx is no longer here. But, Gates of Thunder still has memories. Ease, book 1 and 2. Those still have fond memories in my head. So I'm going to enjoy this stuff for as long as I can. And if at any point, Game Pass dropped tons of games, and they are making a backlog continuously.
Yep.
I have games to play. I don't have time to bicker over a box at all. So, PlayStation Plus, I plan on getting that thing, and I'm gonna pay for $120 version of it, because I'm turning my PlayStation on in the next couple of days, as soon as God of War hit, and because I haven't turned it on since I played Spider-Man, since I played Miles Morales.
Oh. I guess you might want to fire it up a couple days in advance to make sure everything's still aesthetic.
And put the AC right next to it.
Just to make sure. Dust that thing off a little bit. Make sure it's clean. Yeah. I got you. Update. Probably would take 2 days.
I got a comment on the Gotham Knights thing. First off, I did say I wasn't going to buy a 30 frames, $70 game day one.
Yep.
I bought I got it for $62.99.
Good.
And I got it day 2.
Good.
I did not lie.
Oh my God! You will make up any story to get around this stuff.
As long as it wasn't 70, brother, I'm with you.
Wasn't 70. Yeah, I got it.
I will give him that. Deal. He did not pay 70. That's true.
Might be a Black Friday thing for me.
Yeah. This game, I feel like Gotham Knights is it's got a negative connotation right now, mainly because of the performance, right? Which rightfully so. For me, there's no excuse on a game.
It's really bad?
It's not even a stable 30, King.
What?
Right. Yeah, not even a stable 30. And it's locked at 4K. There's no
people?
That's just alone, bro. But it does pick up and be more stable when you're in indoor environments, right? Okay. But when you're traversing the city, it drops into the 20s pretty frequently and has like little hitches and stuff like that. So it kind of ruins the immersion for you. Now, the more hours you put into it, you stop noticing it as much just because you get used to it, right? But like in this next generation of gaming, like that we're used to 60 frames on almost every game, the fact that they didn't prioritize in the early stages of development, trying to make sure that they had an ability to make a 60 frames game on consoles and PC, because it's an issue on PC also, right? That it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just like, for me, it's a design flaw within the processes of game design from the get-go, right? So overall, though, like the actual game itself is awesome. Story's great. It's got some really cool like stealth elements in there. It's got some investigation stuff. The characters are absolutely incredible. The customization and the superhero suits and stuff like that is awesome as well. So there's a lot to love. Two things that people kind of had harp on a lot is the combat and the environment, comparing it to the Arkham games, right? For me, this is like a different animal altogether. Like the city feels more open and more like a kind of like a real city, as opposed to where in the Arkham Knights and the Arkham City and stuff is more like real dense and kind of claustrophobic in some ways, where it's just something every single step you take, right? And this is more like, hey, this is like a city that you can kind of chill around and go around and just enjoy the views here and there, and then decide to tackle an obstacle or an objective when you're ready to. So it's a different feel of the game. The combat is a lot more simplistic. However, I find it extremely satisfying because it is very simple to get into, but the cinematics of it and the way that it feels when you're doing all the moves and the abilities and stuff feels real good. So I recommend it, even though it's it has the performance issues, but I'm hoping for some patches. They already did acknowledge they're going to be focusing on stability with the console versions and performance on the PC
Do you
version.
think that the stability issues or the fact that they didn't have time to optimize it perfectly had to do with WB being in flux with purchasing and stuff like that, and they didn't want to go over because from what I heard, this game was pretty much over budget, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, time to get back some money. So do you think that, like, let's put it out now, patch it later type of thing? Because it sounds like they had everything going for it, but frame rate issues here and there. And in our age right now that we're playing, this generation is pretty much release the game, patch it later type of thoughts. And let's see what we can garner from the early pickups.
Well, I think the proof in that also, King, is the fact that they said that this 4-player co-op mode, the separate mode, is coming later. That tells me that the game wasn't finished, because I would have thought that should be something that is there day one. So and when they said that, hey, this is coming later, it's like, oh, cool, but like they just never announced it ahead of time because they knew that they weren't going to get it to the finish line at the time of launch. So they kind of pulled that, Ghost of Tsushima, hey, free co-op mode thing. You know what I mean? Where like other games get criticized when they don't release with the full amount of content. If you never announce it and then say it's coming later, it comes off a little bit differently. You know what I mean? Because it's about setting expectations. So for me, that means that they probably weren't as far along as they wanted to, and they needed to get the game out this holiday season. The other aspect to that is I think there was just core design flaws from the get-go in the processes that they choose to make the game. I'm not a game designer, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm to make an open world action game that can't hit 60 frames, even on high-end PCs, that tells me that you probably didn't make the right decisions along the way in your design processes. And they claim that it's like with the fidelity of the city and the detail, and then they said, and with untethered co-op and stuff, and they started using that as an excuse and everything. So for me, it's about like the choices that were made early on with some of the design elements, and I think that they just put their priorities in the wrong places, right? But then it makes me wonder, right? Because this is Unreal Engine 4, and I guess the other Arkham games were as well, I believe. I'm not 100% on that. But those never got updated to 60 frames either. So maybe there's just some core aspects to their engines that they have that they're just not really hitting the mark on. I don't know.
I was saying that with Unreal Engine 5, that all the games that were slated for Unreal Engine 5, they all seem to have gotten delayed. And except for Fortnite, of course. I think Fortnite is the test bed for it. But you have brought up something earlier with Fortnite, the other season starters or big events were larger in scope, so it seemed. And I think that had something to do with them either learning Unreal Engine 5 and tacking stuff onto it, because we're not developers, so we think that we just add something onto it, where it's really just not that simple. And Unreal Engine 4 is something that they was really versed in and could flex a muscle in. They were able to show like the Marvel versus Galactus thing. That big thing was huge, and I haven't seen anything like that since they switched over to Unreal Engine 5. So I think like you're saying, that engine that they're working with is pretty much probably outdated, and the thoughts that they're using going into it is pretty much archaic. So hopefully they can get it up to a stable 30, or maybe that 40 frames per second thing that PlayStation seems to like so much.
Yeah. The funny thing is that the most stable console for this game, according to Digital Foundry, is the Series S.
Yep.
You know why?
Because it's at 1440p.
There it is. Little man don't care. Little man say all that. I don't care about your 4K stuff. I'm gonna stay down here
more
where
stable
everybody likes
PS5,
it.
More stable than Series X. Even it's crazy, right?
Beautiful stuff. They ain't asking for everything. They just want their little plate over here, a little bit of garnish. We're good.
To go back to what you were saying, King, about this game and whether or not it had something to do with WB and the inner turmoil. I mean, you got to remember WB Montreal has been working on this game somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 years, because it started out as something completely different. And they've reiterated multiple times and finally came up with Gotham Knights. And you're right, with everything that's going on right now, WB is like, no, it's time. Get this thing out the door. And you could see that because they cut off last gen, right? They cut off last gen and said, "Oh, this is current gen only," and that's when we got kind of excited because we're like, "Oh, well, okay, now they're taking advantage, right? Hey, all right."
30.
No. They were about to have a cyberpunk problem on their hands with last gen if they kept them. That's why they cut those off, obviously, and said, "Hey, we'll just take the loss on those. We got to get this thing out the door. Let's do it with the best we've got." And this is what it is, because
I think that was smart.
It was. I mean, I don't think they really had a choice, right? At the end of the day, I just don't think so. And nowadays, like I said, right or wrong, we as gamers are conditioned to expect patches. We are conditioned to know that developers are going to fix this game down the road. The thing that went wrong or sideways here with WB was how they went about hiding a lot of the information, not being transparent until 5 days before launch when everybody had pre-ordered. That kind of stuff is what got them into a lot of trouble. But King, while we're on this topic, and I know we got a bigger topic to get to, and you're on limited time, so we are going to get to that topic as well, because I want to hear you on this. Everything that Phil and Satya had to say this week, because there was a lot. There was a lot of good stuff. But while we're on this topic here, during all this discourse about Gotham Knights, there were some developers that came out and once again expressed themselves about Little Man. Called it a potato. More developers came out and defended that developer and said, yeah. And then we had another developer say, oh, there's actual developers out there trying to convince Microsoft to drop the S or to not have it mandatory that you have to make an S version. That's how bad it is. All this nonsense got brought up again this week. It's like all the crud off the bottom of the lake comes back up whenever there's something that stirs like this, King. It's even if it's been proven time and time again to not be real. My God, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is running at 120 frames on the Series S. Come on. So for you though, this week, because I know you weren't on Iron Lords last week, you had your rare miss there. What was your thoughts when you started hearing all this kind of nonsense going on about the Series S? Yeah.
I smell the fraud. Nobody's talking about the real situation and the real reason why either, the PlayStation 5 runs as good as the Series X and the Series S seems to be holding back the generation. It's called the parity clause. The parity clause means you can't flex your muscle. Let's say, I'm gonna give it a for instance to a lot of people that don't understand what parity is, right? Me and you go to the gym. I can bench press 500 pounds. I can't. Okay, so don't come up to me telling me that. But you can only bench press 400 pounds. So you made sure in the clause that we're just going to do reps of 400 pounds. That way I can't outshine you at all. Mm-hmm. So it looks like you're competing with me. It looks like you're on par with me. It looks like me and you are the same. In all actuality, I have more room to breathe. I can actually do the 5. But because of the clause in the contract, I got to play at this 4 level. Right? This is where the fear comes in, right? So you'll start seeing games that actually have no fear of the parity clause, like Call of Duty, like you said it. Little Man has more 120 frames per second games than the PlayStation 5.
Correct.
Little Man, like you said, is running more stable than the big guys in Gotham Knights, right? That's theoretically shouldn't be happening. See, the thing is, what they won't try to tell you is they must code for Little Man. Little Man is the most successful out of either one of those two in selling in regions. And I'm pretty sure after this holiday season, we're going to see that. The reason why is it's cheaper, it keeps pace, and the common man's television, I mean, some of us don't have 4K television. I have a 1080p television that's upstairs that my son plays on. Mm-hmm. Little Man's perfect for that television. I mean, the colors pop, it looks fantastic. It has 120 frames rate mode in it. But it was just like Little Man was made for it, right? So it's a lot of people that this console is made for. So if the developer feels, oh, we should just code for this, That's not realistic. That's damn sure not realistic in this world, because not everybody can afford a PlayStation 5 or a Series X. And people can afford a Series S. And a lot of people are playing on their PlayStation 4s. Let's keep it a buck. Most of those games is cross-generational on the competing platform.
And they said that's going to continue
for years.
Yeah.
Right? So who's technically really holding anything back? And then you put in parity. So who is the parity for? Is the parity for the PlayStation 5 or is it for the PlayStation 4? All right, so is it to gimp the big guy over there and boost up the little guy? What is it really about? So this is where exclusives tend to matter. And I've put a clip up of Redfall the other day, and I was just like super hyped because it looked like 4K 60, right? Looked fantastic. Just seeing 60 frames per second, you know how that looks. You know how that hits. That hits a whole lot different. And then you see a 30 frames per second game, and somebody said, oh, that looks like 360 trash. I said, good for you. Fantastic. I'm just hype at the 60 frames per second. And when you start getting exclusives that can take advantage of the box and you don't have to worry about parity clauses and all this other stuff, you'll see how Little Man actually really shines. And it's a lot of games that he runs really, really well. And one developer came out and said, listen, not for nothing, Little Man is capable of 4K 4K on 120 frames. I bet the game is a little bit older,
sure,
but it's still able to output that, right? So with different tools, and they just released some headway when it came to memory management, when it came to using the smaller console, it allowed it to be a little bit more robust and more versatile when it came to displaying resolutions. Now, some people, if you have a problem with the display resolution of Little Man, aka the Series S, then go get a Xbox Series X. Go get a PlayStation 5. If resolution is your thing, if you're a graphics whore like myself, your first purchase should always be the top tier.
Yep.
Right? And then after that, if you want another console in another room, because somebody asked me, why do I have 4 Little Mans and Series X? Because I'm not the guy to take one console and go to multiple rooms, unplugging and plugging back in, right? So it's a great second option. It's a great first option if your finances dictate so. But Little Man gimping and holding back anything, and developers complaining about something, the front office cares about the bucks.
Yep.
And you're going to code for who brings in the bucks. And sucks for you that Little Man is killing it over in Japan, all over Europe. Little Man is acting a fool in America. So
was it 100% over 100% sales increase in Europe?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. It's crazy.
Yeah, was it supply constraints? Hell no. Little Man don't care about that. Let him in.
Yeah, exactly.
To your point too, King, like when you're talking about the performance and the lowest common denominator there, right? Too, it's like if that would only matter also if these games were only being made for console.
Yes.
And more games are being made for PC. Almost every big game is made for PC as well. In fact, all PlayStation first party games are going to PC a year later. I got to ask a question too about all the SSD cult out there.
Oh, come for me, Tim, please.
So all these PC ports of these PlayStation 5 games, are there SSD requirements on the PCs? Or are you allowed to use a hard drive?
I thought the SSD... No, it's not. It was a scam.
What? I thought you had to have an SSD. I thought...
It's a scam. It's an absolute scam. It's and they brought it hook, line, and sinker. There's no difference in that SSD at all right now to be shown. And please show me the game that it does, because the great Jason Ronald and the team showed you how to make that SSD obsolete. Give it a regular SSD in the Series X and the Series S, and make something revolutionary called quick resume,
Yep.
where you can jump into your games like that.
Yeah.
So that SSD was a complete sham, and I'm pretty sure Mark Cerny, if he looks back at it, it was money wasted in an area that didn't need to go. They could have put a regular SSD in it because, again, when you are coding, you're coding for the least common denominator. And that SSD is not priority when it comes to shipping these games on the PC.
Right. Correct. And King, let's stay here with the S real quick. And Mav, I'll get over to you on this too, because this week we had a lot of interesting comments from Satya. We had another Phil interview on the Wall Street Journal. But Satya came out during their earnings call this week. And he said that, speaking of the S, that over half of the S owners are brand new to the Xbox ecosystem. Over 50% of the people that have already purchased the S are brand new to this ecosystem. You were just talking about that in the last part, about what this console means because of the price point to the average consumer out there, to the average gamer who doesn't care, is not an enthusiast, doesn't care about all the bells and whistles per se, just wants a cheap access to point to play all the games. Talk about that. What we're seeing here, 50%, over 50%, Satya said. That's an incredible stat out the gate.
That's Hayachi face. That's sad Hayachi face. That is a lot of PlayStation guys quietly migrating over. Just quietly, Game Pass. This price, it works. And this economy, I'm sorry, man. I go to the store, I spend $70, and I just looked at the cart and I had a tear in my eye because there, excuse me, wasn't anything that represented $70 in this cart for, and it was just something small that we went out to go get. So could you imagine going to the store and you do see the PlayStation 5 and you do see the Series X in there, and the price tags on it, they're not dipping. Well, PlayStation 5 added $50 more to their price tag. And Series X stayed the same. And you're looking at the games and you're like, man, a lot of these games is cross-gen and I don't have a 4K television. This fits me. Even if it's the first time, dude, this fits me. I'm a casual gamer, and I just want to game, and I don't want to break the bank. I got food, I got gas, gas is high, mortgage stuff. When you start to really look at it, this is a hobby, and you want to get in at the lowest entry point to game as much as you possibly can. And Xbox is facilitating that desire. They're facilitating that desire in the fact that the little man costs this price and Game Pass costs that price, and you get all these games and you just want a game. Yep. So I really think it speaks to our times economically. It speaks to the consumer, and it's a great bundle, and it doesn't take up space.
Right.
So it's just a win all across the board. I mean, Jason Ronald and the engineering team put together such a strategy that is really hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. It was well thought out. There was a reason why they did this. And Mav, we talked about this many times because the questions have been out there. Why did they ever make the S? All these people, like, what is it? Oh, again, we started early before they even launched. Oh, this thing's going to hold back the generation, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen lots of tweets about that.
Yeah, but we've talked, but that's been going on forever, right? It just always gets stirred up, like King and I were talking about when you dipped out for a second. That they always get stirred up at times, right? And all of a sudden, all this crud comes up off the bottom of the lake. But when we look at the S and you hear Satya talk about it's 50% of the S owners are brand new to the Xbox ecosystem, and they're not even, Mav, at the magic price point that you and I have talked about, that we've talked about on all our shows, at $199. When it hits that, which it probably will hit next year if we don't see it a couple places this year.
I don't think so.
It's going to be close, but with inflation, it might not this year. But next year, I think there's a real chance we could see it hit $199 finally. But it's not even at that point yet. And you've got all these people, like King said, either buying it as a secondary console to either the Switch or to the PlayStation, or they're just brand new, swapping on into the Xbox ecosystem, one of these new gamers that we've seen come about during COVID, during the pandemic, lockdown, buying an S as an entry point. What do you think about this number that Satya threw out? I mean, again, it's Satya. This is not a made up number. I know people like to say, show me real numbers. Well, again,
they
Satya
can't
says something
lie
that's
to the
real.
public like that, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, right.
Right. This is a real number, folks. So when he says over 50%, that's pretty incredible, don't you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think he said close to 50%. Like, so it'd be, I'm thinking like probably 48, 49. I don't know if he said over or close, but regardless, we'll just call
Either
it 50% because it's
50%.
obviously right there, right?
Yep.
So, dude, that means that it's working.
Yep.
I mean, that's just basically what that number means. That means it's bringing new people to the ecosystem. The other thing that was working that was similar is when they made Fortnite. You don't even have to have an account, and you can play it on cloud gaming. Because they said like most of the 1 million people that signed up for that almost right away were like new to the Xbox ecosystem also, right? So they're finding ways. Remember, like what all these moves they're making is about branching beyond just the typical consoles. Because guess what? Even PlayStation says the console market is tapped out, and it's tapped out at around 150 mil to 200 million homes, right? So. If you want to get to the 3 billion number or whatever the crazy numbers that they're talking about, you got to find ways in inviting more people into the ecosystem. That's why they're doing the Activision Blizzard acquisition. That's why they're doing all this stuff. That's why they made the Series S as well, because you're going to get people that would have never bought a console to potentially buy a console, especially when you're hitting that $250 to $300 price range. Which
I'm gonna tell you how they hit that price really quickly after you finish that.
No, you're fine. The smarter things they're doing, Pong, with even above what the price drop, it could potentially be is these bundle deals with the Series S. Because like on Black Friday, the Target having Modern Warfare 2 with the Series S, right? What they
marketing
just
deal?
With
What they just Sony?
What they just did in Europe to get that 100% sales increase with FIFA, right? In Europe there with the Series S. If they're able to do stuff like that, it means that the price point is right for them and that they have some wiggle room there, because they're obviously, not just like losing crap tons of money on it. Obviously they lose money on hardware overall, but which is funny that people care so much that they could potentially lose money on a subscription service, but they don't care that they lose money on hardware.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, besides the fact,
like ridiculous.
Besides that fact, I feel like the price point and where it's going to be going in the future, because I feel like it's just inviting, because it gets on that like impulse purchase range, right? Where you go to a store, you'd be like, oh shit, like I could get this for my family. It's more than just like the enthusiast, right? I think the Series S is for the for the enthusiasts, it's for secondary screens that we sometimes play on, not the hardcore, not where we primarily play. Or for the casual market where it's like, hey, I'm just looking for something to put on my TV that my family can play on. And they don't care about 4K. They don't care about, all these other numbers. And so in that sense, it's competing against things like the Switch, right?
Yep.
And when you look at value right now, if you're trying to compare dollars for dollars, the Series S is a lot more value-wise a better decision than a Switch, because first off, the games are expensive on a Nintendo console. They're $60. They don't ever go on sale, right? Second off, like Game Pass exists, right? So you can get the Series S for like $250 on a good deal, $300 bundled with the game on a good deal, and you get Game Pass. So all of a sudden you have hundreds of games to play. Also, on top of that, you say, well, the Switch is a handheld. Okay, well, you add on top of that the Xbox cloud gaming ecosystem. Once you get them to subscribe to that, all of a sudden, you add like something like Game Pass Family plan that's coming in the future. You can have your entire family playing on apps on their TVs. You can have them playing on your mobile devices, on phones. You can have your kids that's used to playing on a tablet on their iPads. You can have them playing on everything, right? So that's how they're spreading this ecosystem out. And they're doing it by offering variety in the games and adding the value on the hardware and the services.
Yep.
So it's just a big push to grow the ecosystem. That's all it is. And it's working, regardless of the hardware sales numbers, because hardware, if you ask people about it, what is hardware most important for? Is it most important for PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox? Xbox hardware is the least important hardware-wise
Yeah.
because there's multiple ways to access the ecosystem, right? You got PC gaming, you got Xbox gaming, you got mobile gaming now, all involved with access to Xbox, right? Games day one and Game Pass. So when you have that, you have all of a sudden this growing ecosystem. Now, if Xbox is gaining market share over last generation in the hardware space, that's a bad sign for Sony because that's the most important aspect for them. Hence why
And guess
Sony
what?
is also
They're
making
doing
games for
it.
PC now, right? And they also invested in a mobile developer as well, right? They see the future. They know what it is. Xbox
Oh,
is just
Jim
at
is
the
smart.
forefront of this thing.
Yeah.
King, you were going to talk about the price point?
Okay, so I don't ever see the Series S going below 250. All right, so I see the benchmark staying at 249.99, but they do have a little device that and I can say it on your show, saying y'all can clip this part and come back to it later and say if I was right. Let's put my 98% to the test. 159.95 Xbox Cloud console, that little box,
Keystone.
that they're going to release, and it's going to come with a controller. Now, the reason why I believe that it's going to come with a controller for that 159, I don't believe they're going to take a short on the controller, right? So the controller, controllers cost $60.
Mhm.
And I believe that the machine itself would be like $100, but they want to sell it with the controller type of thing. And I believe that's how they breach that ceiling, because they have a firmament that's like permanently embedded over the head of our ecosystem. And PlayStation has been hitting it, trying to get past it, and it's 125 million, and just really just can't break it. But I believe for you, in order to get past that, you have to have a versatile strategy, and PlayStation's been trying to do it with the same strategy, same hardware shipped to your house, same big albatross that's laid under your console, something that can fit in the palm of your hand and you can take it and you can go. That shows a level of versatility that is really hard to match. And everybody says, well, cloud gaming isn't there. I had this one guy that was going at me because I posted about cloud gaming, Microsoft giving you the ability to play it, like you said, Mav, on your tablet, on your phone. That's something that's unbeatable. If you go to a doctor's office and you pass your phone over to your kid and they can play Call of Duty from his account right there, or whatever game he was playing before from the house, Fortnite, whatever the hell he was playing, and you just pass it off over, oh, here's your tablet, and you're still in the same ecosystem. That's the people that they're targeting. And this is where I think the device will definitely hit. So I don't think the Series S reaches below 249, unless it's something, like a special sale type of thing. But I believe it keeps that number, especially in the economy now. And if the economy gets better, then probably it hits 199. But I think they're going to have tiers to it. The 159 cloud-based thing. If you want that cloud-based thing on the go, you can just go and get that new thing. That's who makes that? I think it was Plantronics, not Plantronics. Somebody.
Which one? Logitech.
The Logitech one.
There's a Logitech,
Logitech,
and then there's a Razer that just hit.
Yeah, the Razer looks. I will go with that. I saw Brad Sands point that out. I will go with that because it actually has hardware in it that actually makes sense. I think it was a Snapdragon. And then you have the Series S, and then you have the Series X. I think they're going to have tiers to it in how you want to play: extreme gamer, casual gamer, and cloud gamer. And I think they're going to categorize it that way. And I think that those 3-prong attacks is that trident to it will definitely breach the firmament, and they can just get past that mythical number of 125 and hit the 3 billion that they're thinking of.
Well, and to be fair, King, I mean, Phil this week in his Wall Street Journal interview did kind of pour some cold water on Keystone a little bit, because a lot of people thought when, it was shown off in that picture, of course, the famous shelf that Phil has. He did say during the Wall Street Journal that they had shelved, pun intended, that device for now, and he thought that it was years away yet, because that's why he said they had obviously worked it up. They had working models of it, and then they said that they decided to move in a different direction. That's when they went to Samsung and cut the deal with Samsung to do the apps and to move forward in that. But I think that at any
Logitech
point they,
too.
LG
LG too.
LG too, and the Razer. I mean, they're partying with everybody right now. Like, there's nobody. But eventually, at any point, they start seeing enough growth, they can pull that right off that shelf and start going, okay, now we're going to go in production. We're going to bring it out at those price points you were just talking about. It's going to be that three-prong kind of approach to this situation, because perfect transition. Satya also in the earnings call talked about PC Game Pass. PC Game Pass increased by 159% year over year. And we heard Phil in the Wall Street Journal say that the console Game Pass subscriptions had slowed down. And we know that they missed their internal marks. Nobody got bonused off of them for last quarter, for fiscal year, I should say. Nobody got bonused off of them, but he said the console was slowing down as far as Game Pass goes, but PC Game Pass, 159% year over year. And on top of that, Satya said that cloud streaming, over 20 million people had used the cloud to stream games. That's pretty dang big.
That is much bigger than I would have expected, to be honest with you.
Yes. I mean, King, what do you think? I mean, again, we always have this debate or this discussion, kind of futuristic, as how far are we away from, cloud streaming really being viable? In a lot of ways, it's viable right now for certain instances. And obviously we see Logitech and Razer, getting into the market. So obviously it's viable. But what do you think when you hear 20 million people have used cloud streaming from xCloud?
Well, being one of the early opters in on live, which Sony went and purchased, that was Gaikai. I can see a huge difference in what has transpired over the years. And shout out to the great Bill Stillwell when I got a chance to play Xbox Cloud, xCloud. And I don't think it was called xCloud at the time. When we got a chance to check it out, and it's okay. A lot of these people want to compare it to gaming at the localized hardware, like right at the house, right? And for competitive uses, this is not it yet.
Right.
All right, so I don't want the argument for competitive uses, right? But ask me about a real-time strategy. Ask me about a turn-based game. Ask me about those type of games, and I think this thing hits the mark something ridiculous. I think cloud gaming is going to excel in different areas and different genres because of latency at the moment. It also depends on the device that you're using. I had to call the guy out because he kept showing his phone, and I said, hold up a second. That phone doesn't look as advanced as my phone, right? And I said, what phone do you have? Oh, well, I have a 2010. Oh, there you go. Well, there you go, buddy. There you go. All right, so it's I believe it's device like the devices will hold it back from reaching its true potential. So
the 5G infrastructure too, as well, right?
Yeah, shout out to Tim Dog. He's can I say this? Shout out to Tim Dog. He knows some things. Yes, speed is available. Right, speed is absolutely available on the right devices at the right given time. And 5G right now is just in its infancy, and when it becomes in its adulthood, I think we will see cloud gaming thriving. But to show earlier, and I have to give Brad Sams his flowers in saying this. He said, "Is this a new genre that we're seeing?" And if this is a new genre that we're seeing, the pioneers in this genre don't get the chance to reap the rewards, but they get the chance to lay the bricks. And later on, there are going to be individuals that are going to reap the rewards. So maybe Phil and the team sat back and said, well, being all the stuff that we got going on right now, this ain't a great time to launch this console into the market, being that the infrastructure is still in its infancy. Let these guys cut their teeth on this on these projects going forward. Let's see where the chips lie. Who do we have manufacturing? Who do we see technology works well? Because if you see Razer, there's a different philosophy than there is with the other
Logitech.
dealer. Yeah, I keep saying in my head, I keep saying Plantronics, right? Logitech. And it's a different philosophy, and competing philosophies give you different results. So you get to see the metrics between the two. So whoever wins, I believe they're going to adopt that type of strategy inside their cloud-based service like the Keystone. So I believe that it was probably 2 Keystones. And I believe they looked at it and said, okay, let these guys battle it out, and we're going to go with the winner and with that. So yeah, it's going to be viable. If it's not viable right now for competitive uses. And yes, I can admit that. I can admit that there's latency. I can admit that there's a little bit of a disconnect, a little bit perceived disconnect, but it's way better than what I started off with On Live.
Yes, sir. They're definitely
imagine
pushing forward
3 years from now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's look how far we've come.
That's when I think something like the Keystone will hit. Is like when they got like the
you cut me off there.
Sorry.
No.
No.
when we first saw it on the shelf, we thought it was coming soon. That's why we thought he was teasing it or whatever. But when he kind of put the fire, he put the fire out on that, right? So then, like looking at it now, I'm thinking like maybe 3 years from now, 2.5, 3 years from now, when that infrastructure is really firing on all cylinders and they have that first party suite just really clicking too, because those RPGs and stuff like that latency ain't gonna matter too much on those babies as well, right?
Exactly.
So, and Matt, one thing I look at too is another device that is getting people used to playing in the cloud on a handheld device is the Switch, right? Yep. Because you got a lot of games hitting that device right now that are cloud only. Resident Evil is hitting that way, and other games too, right? So people are adopting this and getting used to this type of gaming, and for on the AAA scale, right? So once 2 or 3 years from now, once people have accepted that to another degree, I think a device like that's going to be more palatable for buying for the enthusiast for a secondary screen, right? And then also the Trojan horse with that device too is putting it on the shelf, as I've always said, next to the Rokus, next to the Chromecast, next to the Fire Cubes, because guess what? Those things don't do Xbox, right?
No.
So those will have all the same apps and stuff like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, all the Amazon and all that stuff. But when you see, hey, this actually comes with a gaming controller and has Xbox and Game Pass, and it's like, okay, but the other aspect there is 3 years from now, you're probably going to see more TVs that are going to have it built in too.
Yeah.
Right? So it'll go both ways, I think.
And I think the one thing that we always forget when we have these discussions too, we're always hyper focused here on the United States or in the West. The East has been doing this stuff for a very long time already because their infrastructure is set up way better. Way better. We always forget about that. Where's Phil's eyes? To the east.
There you go.
To the east. That's where these steps, we're going to see the baby steps here. We're going to get to that point when, technology is going to catch up. It always does. Again, let's look 5 years ago where we're at. Look 10 years and go, my God, I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing right now on my TV or on my phone, right? But now in the East, those steps here that might be baby steps towards them, they're already used to it. And they adopt that stuff very quickly. And again, this streaming is going to be big over there. We're seing traction over there. We're already seeing ground
cloud
happening. Cloud is the way to go. Mobile.
The 20 million. Had another little Twitter guy tells me 20 million just means, because they did say that they what was that net go, what was it it was one of those streaming online, or the video card one. Well, it passed them.
The NVIDIA.
Yeah, NVIDIA Go, right?
Yep.
So it passed them in terms of players being used. And the terminology that was used, that I believe that they had 10 million active users, right? And Satya is saying that 20 million people have tried it.
Mhm.
There's a huge difference.
Mhm.
I could have tried it once or twice. My son could have tried it once or twice, and they're counting you as a new user.
Yep.
Going forward, and they're using those numbers.
Absolutely.
So we don't know the difference. We don't know the active number
Mhm.
in the cloud gaming space in xCloud at all. We NVIDIA Go, we know their active numbers, but we don't know these active numbers. And I do assume that these numbers are a little bit lower.
Sure.
But the fact that 20 million different people tried it means that there's an appetite for discovery. So I think that's the more positive note that you can take away from that. Even if it's active 5 million, playing it, but the fact that 20 million did try, that means that some of those million could come back if it is more palatable for them later on.
Right.
I wonder
Correct.
too if some of those numbers are counting remote play, because when you
Yeah.
launch remote play, it does say like launching with cloud gaming on the
Yes.
device as well. So I'm curious if those are chalked up into those numbers too.
Could be.
I'm sure they are. I mean, again, it's early adoption. That's what it's all about. I mean, again, all these numbers, and Microsoft does this, that's part of business, right? You're always going to collect every single digit that you possibly can when you're starting to grow something. That's exactly
Yeah.
what you want. It keeps the interest high. It looks good. It is good.
That's what
Yeah.
PlayStation
You're gonna
does
count
with their PlayStation
Yeah.
Plus numbers, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's all
Yeah.
math. Funny math, but it's math at the end of the day, and they're going to use it to their benefit.
A little fun speculation.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
I love it.
That's what we're good at.
I always do that. I always do that every time.
I love my ears. My ears perk up anytime I'm listening
Every
to a
time.
podcast and I hear the words "fun speculation."
Yeah.
Yep, it's fun. It's fun. Let's get to the big topic with Phil's Wall Street Journal post here, or I guess it was a talk that they had. They were at a tech conference and they were having talks. They had Phil there. They had the head of Walt Disney there, who interestingly enough said that adults don't watch cartoons. I in 2022.
I just
really?
watched whatchamacallit, Green Lantern last night, buddy.
Yeah, I don't understand what he's looking at, but anyway,
Well,
that's
I'm
neither-
still a child.
Some adults watch different kind of cartoons.
Yes. That's
Wow.
true too. That's true too.
Overfiend.
But Phil had a lot to say, but let's talk about the big one here, because this was something that's been, oh my God, the circus in this community loves to run with these narratives, King. And we've been trying to tell them, but we're not allowed to tell them because we don't know everything. We're not a part of Xbox. There's no way we possibly can look at any of the numbers given to us and say that Game Pass is profitable. So Game Pass has to be losing money. Game Pass is not sustainable, King. Not sustainable. Again, they're just bleeding money over there to bleed money. They're just investing $70 billion in Activision Blizzard on a whim because they got nothing better to do with their money. But Game Pass definitely is not sustainable. Game Pass is losing money. Well, Phil came out this week and confirmed in black and white, in the boldest of terms, what everybody claimed that he's never said before. He said specifically, Spencer now expects Xbox Game Pass to stay at around 10 to 15% of Microsoft's Xbox content and services revenue, and that it is profitable for us. Once and for all, putting to bed, well, not really, because now they've just moved the goalposts, but once again, he said it now officially that it is profitable. King, is this surprising to you in any way? I already know the answer to this, but I mean, what did you think when he came out and said this?
No, it's been profitable. You've seen developers go into Game Pass and praise Game Pass for the sheer number of purchases that actually happen with their game being seen in Game Pass. The sheer revitalization of certain games that went dormant from going into Game Pass. We've seen whole series leave Game Pass only to return the following week because they realize that Game Pass interaction is consistent, is a constant, right? Like somebody used the word grazing when you go through Game Pass. You know, I look at it as a buffet, and I would like to partake in so many things. And sometimes you get kind of sick and tired of chicken, and you say, you know what, I just want to go over here and play these type of games. And you find yourself playing golf, or you find yourself playing a MMA wrestling game. You know, it's so much diversity in that space that it allows for growth. And the fact that he says, you know, 15%, it will amass. I think he's undershooting it because of the scrutiny that's going on at the moment.
Well, let me add his last quote to that, King, just to give more context. He said, quote, Game Pass as an overall part of our content and services revenue is probably 15%. I don't think that gets bigger than that. I think the overall revenue grows, so 15% of a bigger number, but we don't have this future where I think 50 to 70% of our revenue comes from subscriptions.
Right. So that's shooting down the fear of Game Pass becoming a monopoly. Right. So those words are being really targeted to anybody who's listening to take his quotes out, to use those quotes against him.
CMA.
Right. Exactly. Snitches.
Exactly.
The fact that, you know, he says that in that manner, that he doesn't foresee that, me as a gamer, and I pretty much can see where games are going and where the future is going. I told people there won't be a PlayStation 6. Nobody asked me, did I think there will be another Xbox, right? not in the same iteration that it would be. I think that
are you still on that, King? Sorry to interrupt you. I'm curious. Well, because 100% next gen. That's
no. Okay. Because I think about it in these terms. Even I don't care if somebody tells me they're doing research and development right now. Yeah, so is Xbox. So what?
Right.
I'm looking at it in the terms of Moore's law, right? And I'm looking at it in the terms of this generation should last 10 years. I believe this is going to be the longest generation, just like the PlayStation 3 and the 360 generation.
100% with you.
Those generations dragged on, and we were screaming for new consoles at the end of them. We were so sick and tired of looking at our 360s and our PlayStation 3s that we just, give me the PlayStation 4, give me the Xbox One, whatever. And I think that is going to happen here, but for different reasons. I think the technology in the televisions get better. I think the technology in the televisions get to a point, in the price point of the televisions, that these apps and stuff are going to be so robust. I think by the time we will have probably like 6 to 7G at that period of time. I think cloud gaming takes off in a different way. I think that controllers will be sold. That's it. Where you just pull up to any screen, like and you have the app there and you have your controller and you play. And I think it's going to be so viable that localized hardware won't be necessary at that time. Now, barring anything cataclysmic happening to our electrical infrastructure, like I didn't foresee, COVID, right?
Yeah, right.
So barring anything catastrophic happening, I believe in technology. I believe in development. I believe in the thought process of our engineers, that they want to remove that barriers. In order to hit that 3 billion, you must remove the barrier, and the barrier is the hardware, and the hardware must be removed in order to achieve your goal. So that's my thought process in it. And it has nothing to do with a bias against a box.
Right.
It has everything to do with my faith in technology.
Sure.
People are afraid of that, King. We bring that up all the time.
Let them be afraid.
Yeah.
But it's
I mean, we talked about that. Sorry, man, but real quick, but we have talked about that. And again, I agree that there is a future where that's the first thing that goes. As soon as they can get rid of the hardware, it's gone, because that's their biggest expense. That's their biggest R&D. They lose money on them out the gates, like, except for Nintendo. Nintendo's the only one.
Yeah.
They use 10-year-old hardware, so whatever. But everybody else, Sony, Xbox, they get rid of all of that. I just don't know. I don't have as much faith in it as you do that we get there the end of this generation. I think we see at least one more generation of boxes, but I do agree that there's a future where one of them, or if not both of them, get out at the same time.
See,
So
I foresee both actually happening. I foresee the primary use being the cloud at some point, but I still see a market where they release the box to the extreme enthusiast. But I don't expect the boxes to be sold at that time for a loss as the primary means to grab consumers. At that point, I feel like they're just going to go, we're going to make this the most powerful ass motherfucking box that we possibly can for the people that really want the most power, and release it out there, and we'll charge $700 for it or whatever for the extreme enthusiasts, and everybody else can play on the cloud. Right? That's potentially what I see it going to down the line. I don't know though, but like, as long as there's a market for people that are willing to buy a box that has dedicated playability, and those boxes whatever those boxes that would be sold would be using the same technology that at the time will be being used to power the cloud.
Right.
So it would just kind of go in hand, and you would see the advancements in the cloud coinciding with the boxes that are being put out there.
Yep.
Quite possibly.
Yep. King, did you have any last thoughts on Game Pass being profitable? Did I cut you off?
It's already profitable. I don't believe the number that he used. I do believe that they want that number to be 75% of their gross earnings when it comes to Xbox ecosystem, because like Mav eloquently said, they lose money. Mm-hmm. You said it, Pong. They don't. The moment is, listen, if I can use a teleportation device to go to work and don't have to use my car and don't have to worry about gas,
correct,
I'm going to jump in that teleportation device and I'm going to work. I mean, the moment I can remove the whole rigmarole of certain things, I do. And we do that as humans. It's called working smarter, not harder, right? Mm-hmm. That's the reason why digital is so successful. Yep. So the fact that before we were all up in an uproar, this is why Game Pass is so successful. Nobody has to get up off the couch and open a box, take a disc out, put it in, wait for it to load. No, you go to a little box, you click it, and wow, look at that. And the reason why that's able to happen is because Xbox allows you to play in the cloud until it downloads in the background.
Right.
That's genius. Mm-hmm. To marry the two. So it's not just Game Pass that's allowing you to just win. It's the fact that they married them together in a manner that makes it smart. So you get a chance to play it in the cloud and download it locally inside your hardware. And you're doing it, and it seems like for free, because for $15 a month and you get all these games, it seems like you're stealing something, especially when a big game drops inside their day and date. You really feel like you're winning. And that euphoria that you get, that being in the zeitgeist, that moment that you get a chance to play a game that's, somebody else had to pay $70 for and you didn't. Mm-hmm. It's going to be profitable. So I think he's undershooting those numbers. I think they really want it to be a lot higher, but there's other people listening. They got to get a deal across the table, and they're going to say, 15%, it's nothing, at the moment. But they did say it was profitable.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
No questions. Mav, we've seen the goalpost move already, brother. We've been watching this real time.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since this came out. Now it's, we want to see real hard numbers now. That could mean $1. That could mean $1. We want to see real numbers now. Come on, man. Listen, this was one of the big questions. Again, it's not a big question in the grand scheme of things. This is just a community argument that continues on because it's part of the console war and it is what it is. But to hear him come out and talk about this being profitable, something that we all guessed based upon everything that we had seen. What was your expectations when he came out and said that this was only, like King was talking about, 10 to 15% of total revenue for Xbox content and services? Did seem kind of low for as much as, we just heard that they're making, what was it, 2.9?
Yeah, that's per quarter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what did you think when you heard this, man?
Well, I try to put that in perspective. So that's per quarter. That means it's about roughly $12 billion per year, right? And I think what was the revenue last time was like 70 billion roughly, or something like that. I can't remember.
For all Microsoft?
For all of Microsoft Gaming. Yeah, I can't remember
Microsoft Gaming. I can't. Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember 100%, but it was around. I think it was more upper towards that number, somewhere around there, right? So, if you add up those numbers, it kind of makes sense, to where he's pulling that from. But you got to look at, where all those numbers are coming from, right? Right now, hardware counts, right? And a Series X is $500. A Series S is $300. So even though if they're taking a loss on hardware, that still counts towards their overall revenue, right? So you look at that, you look at microtransactions across all of the games that they have, which is probably one of the biggest digital purchases and all that kind of stuff. I would imagine makes up most of the revenue, right? And even in the games, this is like we talked about the effects of Game Pass that you can't quantify that actually make this even far superior to what the numbers he's talking about is the intangibles, like people purchasing content through the microtransactions in the games that they're playing. Also the fact that we're buying games that we wouldn't have otherwise because we saved money on other games because of Game Pass. People buying games because of all of a sudden the attention brought to it because of Game Pass. A bunch of different aspects to this you can't quantify, but overall, before Game Pass was announced officially as being profitable, all that mattered to me was that Xbox was profitable and growing. Because if Xbox is growing and Xbox is profitable, that meant that Game Pass is working because Game Pass is the best marketing that they possibly have ever had at Xbox, right? You're looking at it, bringing in new consumers, drawing people in all over the place, bringing attention to games that never had it before. People spending money in those games that never would have spent money in those games because all of a sudden they got access to it. People like me buying other games that I wouldn't have bought because I didn't have to spend the money on the games that I was going to buy as well. All of these things play into effect, right? So for me, when they announced the 2.9 billion, I was like, okay, they're right on the cusp around profitability probably, right? Because we kind of assumed that's roughly about probably what they're outgoing for their acquisitions of games into Game Pass. The cool thing is that number goes up, so does the money outgoing probably for acquisitions and content into Game Pass, because it's all a quantitative effect, right? It's like a 1-for-1. The more money goes in, you got to spend money to make money, right? So you bring money in, bring in more people, spend more money, bring in more people, spend more money, bring in more people, right? As long as that trajectory keeps on the same path, they're going to keep investing in this thing like crazy. Just hence why they acquired Activision Blizzard for $70 billion, right? So it all makes sense, dude. I've been saying this thing is successful from the start. The fact that other publishers and other platform holders are still thinking that it's unsustainable, they're afraid to dip their toes in right now. It's all a bunch of bullshit. They just don't have the technology and and they don't have the systems in place to be able to do it at a scale that Xbox does yet, right? They're working to get to that point, so they have to make excuses why they have a inferior service right now and are charging more until they get there. Eventually they will get there, and eventually they'll be copying this model that is growing the ecosystem and gaining market share from the competitors. PlayStation's had solid games this generation, right? They've had some solid games. In fact, they've had more solid first-party games than Xbox has this generation overall because they've had more releases. However, the games aren't selling as much as they used to, right? $70 is not the answer. Raising the barrier of entry into gaming is not the answer to reach more people. Duh. Why is mobile have such a big aspect of the gaming market? Because the barrier of entry into mobile is cheap. Everybody's got a fucking phone. Most of the games are free, right? And even the games that you have to pay for, guess what? People are starting to spend money more on games on mobile than they ever have before because the experiences are getting better. So you're going to see things at like the Ubisoft conference at the D23 Expo when everybody's like, what are all these mobile games doing there? Oh shit, that actually looks pretty good. Right? That Avatar game looked pretty solid, right? Bringing Warzone now onto mobile natively.
On mobile.
Age of Empires, all this stuff, man. It's like mobile is such a huge market and it's growing. Xbox released this graph about console market and it stays the same across like the last 20 years, pretty much, right? PC market, it's growing a little bit, right? Mobile market, yeah, it's getting massive, right? So
Candy
obviously,
Crush makes more than Call of Duty. Candy
out to
Crush
King.
this does.
So-
Oh my! Shout out to King.
so what does that tell you? Like, this is why free to play games like Fortnite and all these games are so damn successful, because guess what? There's no barrier to entry. Somebody can go in and play that game and have a blast and not spend $1, right? But you're going to get the enthusiasts, the people that really get sucked in to spend a shit ton of money, way more than they ever would have if they bought it day one outright and there was no additional content coming out later. So they see this, and they're not to say that they're making everything live service, not to say that they're making all these different things. The key is that they're implementing it in the right ways and focusing on variety to draw in the gamers, because if they just focus on one thing, they're going to be dead, right?
Yep.
So in order to grow Game Pass in the way, and this is what people were afraid of, well, they're going to basically turn Xbox gaming and change gaming into just like free to play model mobile gaming. That's not what's happening here. They're trying to change that infrastructure of what's in place for mobile and for reach that people have all across all these other devices, and bring the hardcore experiences and get those gamers and draw more people into gaming, because they can see things they've never seen before on those devices, right? So they're taking that, they're coming out, they're putting games like Scorn into Game Pass, putting things like Plague Tale Requiem. You got Halo, you got Forza, you're going to be putting Fable in there, you're going to have Avowed, you're going to have Outer Worlds 2, you're going to have Elder Scrolls 6, you're going to have Starfield. I mean, you're going to have all these different experiences that are going to capture different audiences, right? Something for everybody. And they're doing that in a good way. And guess what? It costs a lot of money, right? This is why people believed it's impossible. How could they possibly do this? Spend all of this money and get all these games into Game Pass and all these things. It's just losing out their ass just to gain consumers. Well, maybe at first, right? But they had the vision that they knew the consumers would come along. And even with the console subscription slowing, because guess what? There's only so many console players out there, right? The attachment rate for Game Pass on console is probably fucking insane. Yeah. Right? If you say 30 million Game Pass users, or roughly around that, but they've only sold how many consoles this generation? They haven't sold that many yet, right?
No.
So what's the is it like almost a 1-to-1 ratio probably for Game Pass per console? Yep. Like, is there any other fucking PlayStation doesn't even have that for PS Plus?
No.
Essentials.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to have that kind of attachment rate. So you grow that, and now you start having it with the PC growth, which they focused a lot on PC. They focused a lot on now they're focusing a lot on mobile. So you're seeing that grow, and as you see the numbers go up, of course it's profitable. The profit's only going to get better, and yes, it will go up eventually, because they are underselling what the value is right now, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, they're going to go up on it incrementally. I don't think they're going to say, "Hey, today everybody, your $15 Game Pass Ultimate subscription is $30." I don't think that's. I mean, they're not going to do that, right?
I think it's going to be a $2 price hike. To be honest with you.
Like Netflix style, Disney Plus style, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, King, and I know you got to get out of here. It's been a quick hour and a half. Holy cow!
Yeah, it went fast. It was nice.
The King's got to eat dinner.
These conversations, man, it's crazy. Yeah, it's dinner time. But Phil did talk about the pricing real quick, and this is all coming from Tom Warren at The Verge. Thank you very much, Tom, for doing great work. Quote, "We've held price on our console, we've held price on our games and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever," admits Spencer. "I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it was really important that we maintain prices that we have." King, your last thoughts on this price, and I'll let you get out of here, brother, because I know you got to go eat. Where do you think the price hike happens first? Do you think it happens, he said, this holiday, which kind of, for me, says, hey, next year, kind of probably thinking about it. Probably maybe when the first party, but what do you think hits first? Is it the consoles? Is it the subscription? Is it the actual games themselves finally hit the 70 once we start seeing Starfield? What are your thoughts? Where and when we see this?
I don't think you see a price hike at all on consoles ever.
Okay.
I think Microsoft heard the rhetoric that's around that, with Sony doing that, and I don't think they want any part of that, because just like Nintendo, Microsoft came out and was like, no, we ain't doing that. So for them to say we're not doing that and to turn around and do that, that would be like a very bad thing. So that's not going to happen. $70 games, that's a possibility. Could be $65 games. Could add $5 to it, still be under the $70 threshold, $5 to it, being that your games is inside Game Pass. But I do believe Game Pass goes up. I believe once the friends and family comes out, and once they have that in every region, then they're going to have to do some recouping, because you're going to see an explosion into the Game Pass market, right? As far as everybody trying to get their friends and family on. Remember, doesn't have to live in the same household. So you're going to have people that are originally subscribed to Game Pass linking up with 4 more of their friends and cutting their subscriptions down. So that means less revenue going into side Game Pass, right? So now how do you combat that? You have to raise the price at some point in time. So you got the 25 from these dudes, but you're going to have to get some more money. So you can look at $18.99. PlayStation is selling a weaker, inferior model of a Game Pass clone at a higher price tag per month. If you look at it, they're going to match that. If they don't match it, they're going to probably exceed it. So it'll probably be $19.95 at the max. You know, to be honest with you, I say $2, but I'm the guy that's hoping it doesn't happen. But you know, the business guy in me is going to say, yeah, $20. $20 beats this all day, especially when you can go in there, you can get Starfield, you can go in there, you can get Avowed, you can go in there and get Forza, you can go in there and get Halo when it's in its final form. So these things are worth. So the worth will be in there. We can't do it this year because we don't have those titles to push those buttons to you to make you say, you know what, I can't live without it. So, but next year, brother, when these games do hit, when Starfield, Redfall, and those games do hit, best believe you're going to pay some money. So everybody that's sitting there screaming and crying, I don't want Game Pass to go up. You was living high on a hog for a while. All right. Okay. And like everything else, I was doing the same thing with Netflix. As soon as Netflix started putting Netflix only shows in there, and for me to get Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg, I had to pay an extra $5. And it happened. And it's cool because the quality of the movie showed, the content kept growing, and it didn't slow down Netflix not one bit. And this is not going to slow down Game Pass. They're going to give you the opportunity to pair up with 4 of your friends so you can split that money. If you don't get 4 more friends, that's on you, Jack. So you're going to have to fit the bill for $20. And that $20 is going to be on you. You better get 4 more friends and add $5 to that and make that a thing. So honestly believe they're going to raise the price. It's going to happen. Cry about it, scream about it, kick and yell. I don't care. Either you're in or you're out. But it will happen. Yeah. But it's going to be the best value still when they do it. They're going to show you value before they raise the price.
King, do we get Ubisoft Plus before the end of the year? That's been promised.
I thought that thing was supposed to be in November, December.
Right.
And then something happened.
Right.
And Skull and Bones was delayed. That's probably
did it even hit the PlayStation yet or something?
No,
right?
No.
What the hell? What happened?
I don't know. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I thought PlayStation was in June, right? Or something to September. What the hell happened?
I don't know. But I could see, like, if they're holding it, maybe they're holding it for this reason. Maybe they had plans to put it in there. If they introduce that and then raise the price, it's going to be even more value. I just don't understand what happened, though, because that was announced in spring.
Yeah, because PlayStation was supposed to get a curated version of it, right?
Yep.
It was like...
Yes. They were going to have a vault section.
You brought that up. And that's kind of weird because I still have my EA access. You know, I'm still running around in there because I cut those dudes off, right? Because I was like sending money to them, and then they put them as like Game Pass. I was like, good, because I was never going back, right? And Ubisoft, wow, that kind of slid under the radar because I thought by the end of this holiday season, we should have that either in both. And it's not just, an Xbox thing. No. It's why isn't it over there? Something went wrong in the negotiations for it that they were like, nah, we're going to hold back on it. Maybe Ubisoft was asking for too much money and these services can't sustain giving them this extra money and putting it inside their service package. Wow, that's kind of crazy.
I think it's possible that because they had originally Ubisoft was supposed to have a couple big games launched at the end of this year, right?
True.
Right.
And they remember during their big conference, like they didn't really show much of Skull and Bones. And we're like, why didn't they make a big focus? They just showed the cannons and the swapping of the cannons and stuff. I'm like, they're not really confident in Skull and Bones, and it was announced later that it was delayed again, you know?
Yeah.
So I think potentially they could be holding off because when they launch it on consoles, I would think they'd want to have a lot of hype behind it. And it's easier to get people to subscribe to a new service when you have a new game to promote with it, right? So that could be one way, one reason why, just because they don't have the games for the new games to promote it, really. Because that's the big
Assassin's Creed stuff. Yeah.
But we can still get the vault, the old stuff. Give us the vault, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard. They're going to charge $14.99 probably for this thing, right? So it's going to be unless you're
tiers, right?
Unless you're a Game Pass subscriber or old Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, maybe you get a perk of a discount or something, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're using like Game Pass and PS Plus as like the vaults, and then they're going to have. They're going to have.
They've been dropping a lot of games into both of them.
So. Right, exactly, and they're going to be using like their Ubisoft Plus as like the extra tier. But you know the only differential there is the new games. So if they don't have any new games, what are you going to put out there?
What are you going to promote
with
it? Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know. I just thought that was strange, but I thought that was kind of part of the value proposition as well. If they could add that in there, but. King, I know you got to get out of here, brother.
Yeah, my wife been texting me.
Yeah, I'm sure she has been. I know how that goes, man. Both of us do here, so we understand.
She's like, turn on the boiler. I'm like,
yeah. It's getting turned on. Pong and Mav are holding me up. Hey, listen, thank you so much, King, for giving us your time. I think Mav and I are going to cover a few more topics, but appreciate you so much.
I'll be watching,
joining us. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anybody who doesn't know where to find you, King, just tell them where they can get a hold of you, man. What you got coming up, if you got anything special coming up. I know you got King of Statues, you got Fight Night, all that good stuff. So what's going on, man?
All right, so King of the Statues is shout out to my man Graphic God. That stuff is done. I'm just waiting for the overlay now, and get right back to that because I was bringing it back different, and it's a lot of stuff that I want to do with it. A lot of people want collectibles, and I want to make sure that collectibles get inside everybody's hands. So we're going to have raffles, we're going to have giveaways. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a live call-in activated thing. Same thing with Combat Talk with the King. We're going to have that live call-in feature. This weekend we have Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I hope Anderson Silva beats the brakes off him. It's so bad.
You don't believe it, Paul? Come on.
He's just so annoying. I just want to see him. You know, everybody wants to see the bully get beat. Yeah. So that's Saturday Combat Talk with the King. Sundays ILP at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can catch Lord Cognito and the crew doing our thing and us having a great time. I do appreciate you guys for having me on. I love everything that you guys do. I mean, if y'all guys do not watch Mav at night playing games, I mean, y'all out of your mind. The guy takes his time and walks you through things, and he's not faking it. You know, a lot of the guys do things and, scream and shout for views, and he's just a gamer. He's just like us, and he's playing these games, and he's bringing his passion to you. So I get that, and I feel it, and the algorithm knows what I like, and it's you guys. So I do appreciate being on. And Pong, let me tell you, brother, the moment you put that camera on, I said, you got a face for TV, and I love it. So thank you so much for having me on, guys, and I love everything y'all do. So I'll catch y'all soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, King. Man. Thanks for being here, bro.
All love and respect, man.
Peace, guys.
Peace.
Give a round of applause for the King.
King. Chat. How about that? Royalty in the house. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Always great to talk with King. Again, just so many good thoughts. And again, he's been gaming for a long time, just like a lot of us, and he's got all that knowledge.
His gray beard proves it,
Yes. He was talking about that pre-show. we got the frosty version of King tonight. Yeah. That normally doesn't happen, but he didn't have time to take care of the frost. So we did get a Frosty King, but we're all getting that. So, but yeah, great to have King on here again. King, thanks so much for being here, brother. Have a great dinner. But I think, Matt, we do have some more topics we do want to get to. I think we're going to play some multiplayer Call of Duty tonight. I'm going to stay up extra late tonight and get some gaming sessions in. But let's give the chat a few more topics here at least to talk about. Man, we got to talk about something that's near and dear to our heart. We have to.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Oh,
right now.
We have to, brother. And listen, chat, it's not for everybody, But you know, when you got Pong and Mav, there's some topics that are going to be brought up time after time. And this is one that, Mav and I said that this generation, it had to happen. We were starting to see signs of the possibility that this was going to be returned to the 360 days. We've seen it with horror. The horror genre has seen an explosion. But now we are starting to see the return of RTSs, real-time strategy games, to the consoles, which has been a long time coming. They were almost completely ignored last generation. But this week, man, we had our prayers answered. We were waiting on this announcement. I've talked about it multiple times here, over on other shows as well. Jez and Rand both were confident that we were going to hear the Age of Empires 4 announcement for consoles in the first half of this year. Well, that didn't happen. But what we had this week was the anniversary of Age of Empires, and they did a big showcase, Mav, and this was huge. Again, it's not your bag. I totally get it. Huge. If this is not your bag, I totally get it. RTSs are for everybody, but Age Empires went all out, Mav, this week. They are really coming hard this generation when it comes to Age Empires and really promoting it, which I think is fantastic. It's one of the best RTSs of all time out there. Iteration after iteration, they find a way to make things even better. So this week, we finally got confirmation. Not only is Age of Empires 4 coming, unfortunately not this year, but they said 2023 Age of Empires 4 console edition will be happening. But in the meantime, Mav, they are going to bring over Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition to the console, and it's going to launch January 31st, 2023. That's right, starting off the year with a first-party title. Again, niche, I get it. But this is coming with full controller support. Also, keyboard and mouse support is going to be enabled as well. They've got 40 updates, 83 maps, 42 multiplayer civilizations, 34 single-player campaigns, and optional crossplay. Wow. Mav, speak to me, brother. How excited were you, man?
Man, I guaranteed on FSP that this was going to happen.
Yep.
After they teased it a little bit, I was like, I guarantee, man, this is going to happen.
Yeah,
but I
Greenberg left no doubt.
Yes, I agree. Some people still had doubt though. Like, no, this. I mean, we saw it coming in. Man, I'm like super freaking excited, dude. But I didn't see coming is Age 2.
Yes.
Didn't see that coming. So we're gonna be able to whet our appetites, and dive into that before we get the whole shebang with 4. And by that time, they'll even have more content for 4, I would imagine, right? Yep. So, if you're a console gamer and if you've felt like you're a little left out on RTS games and some of the bigger ones, Xbox is giving it to us now, and they also announced for mobile, right? So I'm curious how that's gonna go. But dude, I'm excited, dude. I'm a freaking pumped, man, because this is a game that my PC can run it, right? And it can run it okay. I can have some fun on there. But I've been wanting to play this on console. Now, PC gamers and RTS enthusiasts say, Mav, you're fucking crazy. RTS games are way better on PC. I get it. I just prefer playing games on console. Point blank. I got used to playing RTS games on console in the 360 era. I played a lot of them. I had no issues with that. Playing against console players and skirmishes and on co-op with skirmishes and stuff. It's just absolute blast. And this is one of the premier RTS titles out there. Now, I got to ask other developers out there making these big AAA RTS games to follow suit. Because there's no excuse. There's literally no excuse not to cater to the console gamer at all. You got to put the priorities in place to make sure that you grow the audience by putting the releases on the platforms in which people play games. You have so many consoles out there that people would love to diving into this. One question I have, Pong, did they say whether it was going to Xbox One as well, or is it just current gen only?
They did not say that. But wait, they did, because they only showed the S and the X. So I believe it's next gen only, or current gen only.
Right. So, which that may be because of hardware, just
Yes,
restraints,
limitations,
right?
yep.
Limitations,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And you'll be able to stream it. You'll be able to cloud stream it because they said it's coming to cloud
Yeah.
streaming as well.
So remote play, all that stuff, it should work fine too, man. It's gonna be great. It'd be a little. I would think it'd be a little challenging to play a big RTS like that on a small screen.
Probably.
With the amount of
That's
units
why
being
Age
able
of
to see
Empires
everything.
mobile is interesting.
Right.
Like, how are they going to
I think it's going to
off?
be a different experience. I think Age Mobile will probably be a different kind of experience, built primarily focused around mobile gaming. But dude, this is going to be glorious. I know me and you and maybe some others were going
Jasper.
to Jasper, Psycho, like RTS games, going to be in Game Pass, right? Are going to be teaming up co-op, going against the PC, or we'll be trying to get some matches in against other console players or controller players out there as well. But also the cool thing is, they're doing the mouse and keyboard support, right? So if you were an RTS enthusiast and you don't have a PC rig that's really capable of playing this very well, you can go get yourself a little Series S, put it on your desk, get a mouse and keyboard, put it there, and you got a machine that can play Age, right? So absolutely fantastic, dude. And it's going to help grow the brand and, give access to more players. Because with the cloud gaming and all that stuff, who knows what can happen with that. You could have it on the Samsung TV app and all that kind of stuff too. Just get your controller, you're good to go. And dude, I'm pumped.
This is a push we needed, Mav.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest RTSs out there, and I'm really hoping that Xbox is talking to Sega.
Company Heroes, let's go. Come on.
Company Heroes, obviously Total War. I would love to see Total War. They talked about Age. What they're working on is a custom resource management system for consoles. If they can get that figured out, there's no reason why Total War can't come. There really isn't. If they can get that figured out, I'd love to see them put the money into Sega and say, hey, bring Total War coming over. But this is huge, Mav. And chat, get ready. Come January, Mav streams a lot. You're going to be seeing a lot of Age of Empires if I got anything to say about it. Like he said, we're going to have a lot of team-ups going on. It's going to be a blast.
The thing about those matches, you can make them last as long as you want to. Correct. You know what I mean? So it's blast. I kind of play RTS games not like as a rush type gamer. Sure. I like to see everything that the game has to offer. I like to see all the technological advancements. I like to see everything. So, you'll be seeing some long sessions on some on some
hell yeah, it's
skirmish
gonna be
modes,
fun, man. Oh, it's gonna be a blast. And also along with those announcements, mobile, but they also announced Mav, which I hope after they get the PC version out, we also get a console version, because this game, me and my kiddo played nonstop back in the day. And of course, Age of Mythology, they are bringing it back. Age of Mythology Retold, one of my favorite RTSs of all time, literally. And I didn't have a PC to run it. I ran it on my laptop, but that you could do it. I still got the discs around here somewhere, actually. Age of Mythology was one of my favorite because it had to do with all the different. You could have Greek mythology, you could have Egypt mythology, you could get the gods with the powers, and all that kind of stuff. So freaking cool. My kid was playing this when he was like 7 years old, having a blast with it. That's how he got into Battle for Middle Earth, because then we got that on the 360. He's like, oh, this is just like Age, or this is just like Age, Dad. And I'm like, yeah. And so he got into Battle for Middle Earth. I can't wait. I really hope. But exciting time. And if anybody missed it, there was a little blurb. Most people don't know this game unless you PC game and unless you're into these types of games, but Anno 1800, which is a city builder / RTS game
Ubisoft,
from
right?
Ubisoft. Yes, that looks like that's coming to console as well. Telling you, Golden Age is here, folks. We're going back.
We did also have some like bad news around Humankind though as well, right?
Yes. Humankind does have some issues. They're having a problem with the console version, so that's been delayed indefinitely for right now. But they are working on fixing that. So we should see that next year as well. I don't doubt.
Was that Aura game coming to consoles?
Aura is next year as well.
Right.
That's one of the first. The second party. Whatever you want to call
strategy games and RTS games and tactics games, man, are coming to consoles. Dude, this is great.
And I know people aren't going to count it for all their reasons why they didn't count certain games at the launch of Series X and stuff. But listen, this is another first party title coming to console out the gates, first half of 2023. You can add this to the Forza. You can add this to the Redfall. You can add this to the Starfield. That means we've got 4, and this is AAA RTS. This is not any kind of little piddly, fun type art. This is AAA RTS. So I say we now have 4 AAA
At least.
games first party, at least coming out first.
And that
half.
doesn't count if the Activision Blizzard acquisition is finalized, and you got
Correct.
Diablo probably coming into Game Pass day one. As well.
Correct, sir. Correct, sir. And they're firing up that beta too. But yeah, big week for the RTS. Mav and I had to talk about it because we've been waiting on this announcement, and this is going to be gigantic for some of us. Again, Mav, 2023. I was in your,
Absolutely
we were in the
fucking crazy.
DMs. We were in the DMs, and I rattled off between second and third party and first party. Because that's the only one I own. I only own the Xbox. So I don't have a Switch. I don't have a PlayStation. So I wasn't even counting those, but I rattled off like 15 games in the first 15 to 20 games I'm interested in the first half of 2023. And that's just with owning a Series X. Like, it's insane what next year is going to look like. And one of those, Matt, one of those that I added to the list, it's not a new game, but it is a free upgrade to the next gen or to current gen consoles. PlayStation is going to get this as well for free, folks, along with the series consoles. Fallout 4 is getting a free update. They are going to go to high frame rates and quality 4K modes, bug fixes, and of course, Creation Club mods are going to come along with this. They charged for the Skyrim version, right? The anniversary edition of Skyrim. They charged us for that for all of us who bought it once again. But again, in fairness, I had not bought another copy of Skyrim since the 360. But this one for Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 wasn't quite as big as they had hoped it would be. It didn't hit as like Fallout 3 did. They're giving us a free update for that. Mav, will you go back to Fallout 4 to try the new update?
Absolutely.
Next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's already got FPS boost, right? So
yes, it does.
It does run at 60 frames, but another coat of paint on it, could go a long way. That wasn't one of the more visually impressive Bethesda games when that hit right away, because it still kind of it was impressive, but it kind of felt like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas still, just a little bit better. I think another coat of paint on it, running at the high resolution frame rates and stuff like that, or natively, are going to do some wonders for that game. So yeah, I'll be diving back in. I never finished it. I've another one of those games I've started like 15 times probably.
Nope.
I know the opening sequence by heart. You start the house, the guy knocks on your door, you can talk to the robot at the crib. You're looking in the bathroom mirror and you change, all this stuff. I know that you run to the vault and somebody comes in and does something, and I'm not going to spoil that for anybody who hasn't played it. I guess the game's been out for forever, but anyway, like I've always get into the open world and I kind of do some missions and stuff, and then I just kind of check it. I've always checked out on Fallout 4 for some reason. Not that it's not a great game, but it didn't click with me as much as 3 or New Vegas did. So maybe just for whatever reason, this will be the time that it finally 100% clicks.
But man, there's gonna be a million other things.
I know. How? I mean, Witcher 3 as well, and they just announced Witcher's getting remade.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up. Witcher and UE5 coming back. The first Witcher, which I believe was PC only, if I'm not correct.
Yes,
right?
I played it on PC, actually.
I never played it. I watched
it was like more of a top-down, like typical CRPG game, right?
Yep.
So it didn't have as like much of more of the mass appeal. It was more for like that CRPG user. And I checked it out. I played quite a bit of it. I digged it. Another game I didn't finish, but Witcher was already on my radar. And when I found out Witcher 2 was coming to console, I was like, whoa, cool. Like one of those types of games coming to console. Awesome. So and on Witcher 2 is very different, Yep. Witcher 2 went more to like that third person action RPG style. I got stuck in a certain part of Witcher 2, so I stopped playing it as well. But then Witcher 3 blew it up to another level.
The combat in Witcher 2 was not good.
Yeah.
Like I've gone back to try to play it again.
There's some boss fights that are extremely fucking hard in Witcher 2 because of the way the combat is,
Yes, it's clunky as hell.
I got stuck on one of them and I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with that, but it was still a really impressive game with the writing and all those aspects as well.
Yep.
Witcher 3 took it to another level. CD Projekt Red does a lot of great things, but this is not being developed by CD Projekt Red. The remake is being developed by another developer, so that's gonna be interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, in part, they're gonna really partner with them. It's Fool's Theory is the developer behind this, but CD Projekt Red is going to be overseeing the project, so it's going to be but it's going to be built from the ground up. It's UE5, like Mav said. The old one was a top down, so this is going to be like a complete. This is not even like a. This goes beyond even remake. This is like a full fledged brand new game.
Game. It's a regame.
Right, regame it. Yes, exactly.
It's a new term, regame.
Exactly, but that's going to be sweet. And yes, Go Po Tropicos are absolutely awesome on console. I love the Tropico series as well. I play them for fun. I've got 4, and I think I've got 5. I got both, and I just pop them in every once in a while. I love the concept. I just love running a banana republic. It's cool. You do whatever you want to.
Are you a closet dictator, Pong?
Yes. Absolutely. Again, yeah. That's why Darth Vader is my favorite character in all Star Wars, right? I like the dark side. I'm not that way in real life, so when I get to play it, yes, I let all of that out, like all my dark side fantasies out. What else we got this week, Mav? Here, what are the little things that popped? Oh, Wolong got a release date out of the blue, as well as what today? What's the name of it? What Somerville? Somerville.
Oh yeah, Somerville's this year. Yeah, November.
Yes, this year, November 15th, out of the blue, Somerville. Again, another indie game, Game Pass, day and date. Drops a trailer. Oh, by the way, we're releasing next month.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Somerville, for anybody who doesn't know, from the developers of Inside. That's where most people would know the developers. Inside. Looks freaking tastic. But yes, we are getting that November 15th. But Wolong got an official announce date of March 3rd, 2023. So they didn't go into February where everybody else is, man. But the next week. Right, the beginning of March, on top of everything else. Wolong, which again, for people who do not remember, it's not console exclusive, but it is coming in Game Pass day and date. Is obviously a multi-platform game going everywhere. The demo was out. I like the demo. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Koei Tecmo, what can you say? They're coming back this year strong. So 2023 is going to be a big year for them. So Wolong, March 3rd. 2023 as well.
2023 is too much, dude. I was thinking about it earlier, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
No.
I might like try and like lock myself in a closet with a TV and an Xbox for a year.
I have no idea, Mav, what's going to happen next. Starfield alone is basically 5 games for me for how many hours I'm going to put into that. And then, like I said, you got Diablo. I mean, you got all these time sync games. It's not like we've got a bunch of games. It's like we've got huge games that are time syncs. Modern Warfare 2, it's still going to be going on next year. Again, we're going to be in the middle of.
I really think too, Halo will be on another level by that point too.
And that's certainly possible. So, that's
I think the community is going to really dive back in head first on that once all that content starts clicking better, after Forge is there and the community gets its hands on it this November. 2023 is absolutely insane. I don't know. And that's just for what's already been announced.
Right. And there's a bunch sitting out there with no release dates. There is a ton with no release dates that could be early 2023 that got pushed out of this year.
Yeah. And so whatever was originally planned for 2023 for Xbox could potentially still be there.
Yes.
We don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So PlayStation, we can expect Spider-Man 2, I think, which is going to be another huge one. But that's later, probably later in the year. Besides
Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy 16. Oh my God, dude. Final Fantasy 16. Again, Hogwarts Legacy is also next year now, right?
Hogwarts Legacy is next year. Like I was saying, you own multiple consoles. I own one, and I'm already freaking out. You've got the best of both worlds over there, and you might wind up picking up another Switch at some point as well.
I'm hoping. I'm holding out as long as I can for them to announce a Switch 2 or a better Switch. But they keep having.
I'll be right back.
Switch keeps having all these damn games that I'm just actually interested in playing. Bayonetta 3 looks like it's going to be fantastic. They had a Triangle Fantasy or Strategy. So many good Switch games right now. The hardware is my limitation on it. I want to know from the chat. Do you think Switch may have had the best first party year or for best exclusives year this year in gaming? or do you think PlayStation did? Because Xbox was a little light on the exclusives and first party. I want to know from the chat. I'm really curious about that. Do you think Nintendo had the best first party and exclusives year, or do you think PlayStation did? Because I've owned Switches. I've sold multiple Switches that I've owned because I could just never get into it because of the hardware limitations of it to kind of keep me from enjoying the games as much as I want to. But you got Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you got the new Mario Rabbids that now Sparks of Hope. You had the Mario Strikers launch this year, which is supposed to be good. The new strategy games that they just announced, Bayonetta 3 is hitting. It's like so many damn games that I feel like I need to catch up on. And if I wait for the next Switch, then will it be too much? Right? So I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about. But I just asked the chat who had the best first party exclusive year, Pong, whether it was PlayStation or Switch. PlayStation, Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo may take it.
Again, being a non-Nintendo fan, so not again, there's certain titles, but if you count Bayonetta 3, then yeah.
Yeah, Bayonetta 3, you got Pokemon's about to hit. You also have
Splatoon 3.
The new Mario Rabbids game against Sparks of Hope. You have Splatoon. I forgot about Splatoon 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Triangle strategy game. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yep.
They had a killer year, to be honest with you, with big titles, right? In a year where there was a lot of delays across the industry. Somehow, maybe it's because it doesn't.
Oh man, Monster Hunter 2 this year.
Monster
this year.
Another. I think they had expansion on Monster Hunter Rise.
Was it an expansion? Okay.
I'm not sure. I think Monster Hunter Rise has been out for a while.
Has it?
Yeah. It's so much, but they had Mario Strikers, which was supposed to be really good. So I'm like, I don't love the hardware, but the games, man,
Just get with KhAos ThEory and use your Steam Deck.
But then I own so many Switch games that I don't play now because I don't have a Switch. So it's like
get I need to on Steam Deck.
Yeah, I need to put them all on there. Suppose you can get better performance in some of them.
Yes, you do.
And then if I buy them on Nintendo Online, then I can emulate them on a Steam Deck, right? Legally.
Yep. Legally, if you own them, you can do it. That is correct, sir.
Right.
So it's not illegal. So, oh yeah, Kirby Return to Dreamland too. Jasper just put in there as well. Right on. So yeah, no, they definitely had they had the biggest killer year for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and they had been a little weak the last few years, in my opinion.
Yeah, again, I can't say much because I don't pay attention as much. But yeah, this year and next year for Nintendo is gonna be gigantic as well, of course.
Yeah, Zelda. Yeah,
gonna be huge.
That's another one.
Yeah,
but I wonder, do you think maybe that'll launch with the new Switch?
I think so. I think that they might even hold it if they hold off on the new Switch until holiday season. I think they might push Zelda. They're well known for that. They're masters at doing that, for having a game ready. Unless
remember the last Breath of the Wild was a crossover between Wii U and Switch, right?
Unless they have Metroid, right? Finally, Prime ready, that they've been holding on to this entire time, and they launched that with the new system to show it off. That would be gigantic as well for them. So, we'll have to wait and see. Now, did you watch that new gameplay trailer for Redfall, by the way?
I did. Yeah.
That was the best trailer.
I was like, okay, Redfall, here we go. It looks it's fucking awesome, man. That was the best trailer.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Oof. Just how they set up that whole trailer. Like I said, I thought in the DMs, I thought it was a huge miss. They should have had a demo for this game for Halloween.
Oh,
Halloween week,
yeah.
A demo for this game would have, again, the hype's already there. It's going to be a big game, but I thought it was a missed opportunity. The way this trailer played, this is like the perfect Halloween game. And I know I
saw the trailer. I was like, yeah, this would have been great around Halloween. Yeah.
Oh, it would have been fantastic. But I just thought a demo around that time frame would have just been awesome. Like this week going into next week, it would have been so sweet to have Redfall to play around with, even on top of Call of Duty. It still would have been great to have that demo there. Did you see anything new in the trailer that you thought was looking even better?
I just liked the in the house with the lights, like
Yes.
the intense close encounter type gameplay, kind of gave like a different vibe. Much more horror themed in this trailer than the last several.
Yes.
Maybe that's purpose because of the time of year it is right now, and they're trying to really promote that. But overall, it gave a different feel than the last trailers did, which focused more on the action. This focused more on the environment, right? And I really like that a lot. Do have a question in the chat that I want to get to
Yeah.
too from
Yeah.
from Poochie.
I just saw this and I was going to
Yeah.
bring it up as well.
Okay,
Go
awesome.
ahead.
He says, "Do we agree with Clobrel?" And I think what Poochie's referring to is Clobrel had a tweet kind of criticizing the marketing again from a thread. Yeah,
A very good thread.
criticizing a little bit the marketing aspect from Xbox, which is not the first time this has happened with Xbox, where there's a badass new trailer come out from one of the bigger games, and you don't really see it push from the social media as much. You just their YouTube. It's on their YouTube, but no like big promotion about it, which is kind of awkward for like a big first party game that you see get a new trailer for. Like when there's a new trailer for like a God of War or something like that, or it's like really promoted out the ass. You know what I mean? Like this seemed like it's just dropped out of nowhere, and it's up to for the people to find it and share it. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of a disconnect between the teams at Xbox and the marketing. I agree with Clobrel here. And this has been a criticism we've had before even this last two instances of Xbox marketing, just not really taking advantage fully of what they have to utilize for marketing, right? Like they could do a better job. Like they have all the value there. They have the games all coming, all this stuff like they're doing right. But like there's something they're missing the mark on when it comes to promotion, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So what do you think, Pong?
100%. We've talked about this multiple times. I thought we've talked about this also in relation to, the shows and whether or not they need to have more shows going forward to promote, like Nintendo
Mhm.
does, like we've seen PlayStation in the past do. I think it's all one big bundle that Xbox really, really needs. Look, Clobrel was not wrong that they do a better job of promoting their controllers, their
Mhm.
custom controllers, than they do their games. And I'm not going to argue with him at all on that. I think that's a fact. They should have these, and I understand that they still have Bethesda separate from Xbox marketing. Jez brought that up in comment underneath the thread as well. That Bethesda's marketing is separate from Xbox still because that's how they're running these companies. And Activision Blizzard's going to be the same thing. Their marketing is going to be separate. But now that Xbox is the parent company, now that Microsoft Gaming is the parent of all of these corporations and all these separate business entities, they need to synchronize all of this marketing. It is inexcusable that Redfall has a trailer like this come out. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's perfectly themed for Halloween, for spooky season, all that kind of stuff. And that they weren't doubling and tripling up on this trailer instantaneously. Like Clobrel said, it came out 7 hours later in the middle of Mav, the Age of Empires stream.
Right.
Like
They did a good job promoting the Age stream.
yes,
right?
they did a great job promoting the Age stream, but why would you that's basic market. Like I don't have to listen, I was going to go to advertising at one point too. My dad is in advertising. This is basic marketing 101. You don't have to have a degree to understand that. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you are the parent company and you have this great new product, which Redfall is. Redfall is going to be one of your big AAA first-party titles next year, coming from a very well-known studio. It's already got some hype. It's gotten better and better every time they've shown it. It's inexcusable that you don't have a promotion cycle down in line with what Arcane and Bethesda are doing. Like that doesn't make any sense. Yes, they're separate from you, but you guys have to be working together with your teams. This should have been on Xbox Wire. This should have been on the Xbox YouTube channel instantaneously. It should have been tweeted out as soon as Arcane made their tweet about it. Xbox should have been doubling up on it with some, cute emoji laden tweet and whatever, something smart to say about it, and then linking it as well. That should have instantly been happening, and they have to do a better job of this for sure. Again, I understand that it's all process and that Xbox is a new territory here, but at some point you got to take off the training wheels.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to say, hey, this is the new us now. We're not the little Xbox that was struggling to stay alive halfway through last generation. We're now the king, or what we want to be is the king of this, this realm, and we've come to play this time. We have to get all this stuff in line. We have to figure this stuff out. And I think they've got a lot of work to do here. And hopefully, show-wise, we see more shows next year to highlight these types of games that need to be highlighted, not just at a big showcase, but all time through the year. Again, I think it's fair criticism. Yeah. Microsoft has a ton of money.
There's
do more.
Easy answer to this. Make a simple tweet from Xbox's account.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, new Redfall trailer reveal.
Yep.
You know how much hype there would be the day before, like leading up to that trailer?
Right.
You know how many people would watch it? You'd have co-streamers actually co-streaming the trailer, right? Mm-hmm. That's like what Battlefield does, right? And that's what other big, they get so much engagement and hype from the trailers when they drop big time things like, hey, new trailer tomorrow or whatever, this, that tomorrow. It doesn't have to be a big event, but just like tell people it's coming instead of just dropping it, because then you get the hype, a little bit of a hype build up about it. You know what I mean? That's all you want. Like, just say that it's coming, so that way people know to look for it instead of just randomly dropping it on YouTube.
And Xbox's social media team is excellent. Stein's got it down. Like they've been doing so awesome lately. It's just these disconnects between something like an Arcane. And again, they're separate, but they shouldn't be anymore. Yes, they can still do their own thing, but they should be in line with you. They should be like talking to you saying, hey, we're planning on dropping a new trailer, so you guys know, so you can line up your tweets, so you can line up your Xbox wire to work with us so that we go ahead and double promote this. That's the way it should be now. Again, from my perspective at this point, it's inexcusable. They've got to work on this. They've got to fix on this. We know they've been hiring internally for those positions, especially with the show position. We knew that was up. That was a public, job listing, a public job listing for that position. So they are working on it, but I do think they can do better there.
And this was probably could have also been like because this is from the Bethesda side, right? Like they could just still letting them handle their thing, you know what I mean? Instead of like, they need to get together and figure that out. Like Pete Hines has got that promotion. So I forgot her name, but she was just kind of given his role, right?
Yeah.
As a promotion as well.
Yep.
And I think that, just maybe she should get together with Aaron and like whoever's making the decisions on how they streamline their processes for marketing, promotion of the games, just kind of get on the same wavelength a little bit. That's it.
Exactly. And Bethesda are experts at marketing. If you need them to run your marketing on your Xbox, give them control of Xbox marketing too. And start calling some shots, because they are experts at marketing. Mm-hmm. Whatever needs to happen, but you guys are all one company. You may run separately, but you're all one company now, and you got to start acting like it. That's my only thing. It's not a big giant deal, but in this day and age in 2022 with social media and all that kind of stuff and hype trains and how to do things like this, I think it is kind of a big deal that they haven't gotten it together yet. So we'll wait and see. I did want to make a comment because we had to get through King because he had time constraints too. I did want to talk about this just for a tiny bit here, Mav. The potential price increase. I've already seen, of course, the circus is out saying, why aren't you guys screaming about this? Why is Phil talking about this? Blah, blah, blah. I do want to make this clear. I'm not cool with any company doing price increases. I'm not going to champion billion, trillion dollar companies doing price increases, whether it's Sony, whether it's Microsoft. I'm not going to sit here and say it's okay. And whenever it does happen, I will certainly criticize it. Right now, it's just a potentiality. We don't even know where the price increase is going to come from. You can hold the thought in your head that this is not okay, and you can speak out about it when it does happen. And to King's point, you can also hold, hey, that price increase, I still see value in that price increase. Let's say it's Game Pass. Let's say they do increase it by $2-3. I can hold both and say, for $2 or $3, you guys could have cut some costs somewhere else and figured out a way not to pass it on to your consumer. But I could also hold it at that point in time when I'm looking at my budget going, nope, I'm still see value here. I'm still getting my money's worth, especially with all the first party titles coming out. But you will hear me personally criticize Microsoft if and when they do decide to do this price increase. And if they go to the $70 price point on the games, we'll have the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though other people have done it, I don't believe that Microsoft and Xbox have to do it. Okay, I'm not in that boat. I think $1 trillion company can certainly find other avenues to find those, whatever they got to make up, whatever they think they got to make up. I still believe that they can do that and don't have to pass it along to us. Again, as a budget gamer, I protect my wallet. That's how I make my decisions in gaming. That's why I'm with Xbox as my primary right now, because they fit my budget, because they give me the most value. So I will talk about that. But I've seen the circus out here already claiming that there should be. Oh my God, I saw him going after people.
Like,
saying,
where's the outrage?
Video. Where's the videos on this? You guys had all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it hasn't happened yet.
Where was the outrage from them when PlayStation did it first off?
Right,
Actually
correct.
did it instead of hypothetically.
You championed it. You said it was a premium experience and it was worth it. Okay. All right. Again, I'm not going to be out here championing it. Right. I will still be able to hold both thoughts in my head. I'm a capable human adult who can hold two opposing views in his head at the same time. That is the possibility. I will criticize it and say, I don't think you guys need to do this. It's wrong that you're doing this. And I will also say, I still see value in this. Like I said, when it comes to Game Pass, if they do it on the games, I'm going to be the same way I was with Sony. You guys are bullshit. I'm not going to say
is subjective.
Correct. Correct. And it will always be that way. But I can still criticize it and say, no, you guys should not be doing this at all. Just like I won't say I'm never going to buy a $70 game, because I know that's not true. If there's a game I really want for $70 that I see value in, I will go buy it. Okay?
And I
would still
already
say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this.
I already made a tweet as well about this, because like if they raise the price on $70 game to $70, I'll give them the same smoke I've given everybody else, right? If they raise the console hardware price, I will give them the same smoke I've given Sony with that as well. And if they raise the price to Game Pass, it depends on at that time what other things are going along with that, like how much more value has been added into Game Pass, and all those things are going to be taken into account. Like we know the Riot Games things happening, the Activision Blizzard games, how many of those are going to be in there from the ecosystem, all those different stuff. Like
correct.
So all that's going to play into a factor, right? For me, like when it comes to Game Pass specifically, I feel like Game Pass has been a too good to be true thing for a long time.
Sure.
So I've been in the acceptance that at some point Game Pass price was going to increase ever since they announced the original price of Game Pass. It's like, that's eventually going to go up, because that's like just too good to be true. However, with the other things especially, I feel like are unnecessary. Now, is Game Pass unnecessary? We don't know. Like, it depends on what the numbers are. Right now, they say they're profitable, so 100%. It's not necessarily necessary, but if they're spending a bunch of money on acquisitions to bring more value into Game Pass, to grow it even more, at that point, you look at it, okay, well, they just basically spent $70 billion or like spent all this other money to bring me even more experiences. Also, that goes into how the ecosystem expands. How many more places can you play? If they add mobile Game Pass to that Game Pass Ultimate offering as well, after the acquisition is complete, all those factors will play into your mind when you're looking at that, whether it was justified or not. We gave them a lot of heat when they tried to go up on Xbox Live Gold, right? We had an entire show just shitting on them pretty much for doing that, because we didn't see the value in it. And guess what? They knew
what it was.
Right.
They knew exactly what it was. They were trying to force everybody into Game Pass.
Yes.
What they were initially doing.
They got so much backlash, they backed off on that, right? During one of our shows live on Xbox Ultimate. Like, it was crazy. We were like spent like over an hour talking about it. Then later that show, they rescinded it. And it was like, what?
When
That's
we were going out.
crazy. Yeah.
we were about to do our outros. That's when it broke. Yeah.
So, there's definitely times when the consumers need to speak up, right? And I was having a conversation with people that are afraid about digital and versus physical and all this stuff, and about how much control how much control the companies have on digital versus physical, right? And stuff like that. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, it's up to us to speak out and vote and let them know and let our voices be heard when there's something we don't like. And a lot of times certain companies, some reason get away with everything, right? It doesn't matter. There's not enough backlash when bad things or bad practices, anti-consumer practices are put in place. It takes lawsuits and things like this from a small group to actually try and keep them in check, as opposed to their massive audiences. And if there's more people that speak up when bad things happen, then guess what? These companies listen because they don't want the bad PR, right? They don't want the bad image because that affects them in the long run. Look how much that affected Xbox One with the whole DRM thing, right? Like, bad press, bad image can cause a label on your brand, right? And no, those effectively that damages things more than anything else at times. So it's up to the consumers to speak out when things don't go the way that they think it should. Now, there's always exceptions and reasonable aspects to price increases at times. Right now, this generation, I haven't seen any reasonable ones. The $70 games, the upping on the hardware price on PlayStation are not reasonable. They're not necessary to me whatsoever. So I speak up on it. I will do the same when Xbox follows the trend, which I expect them to do at the $70 games, because everybody else has done it. Ubisoft is on the train, EA, Activision, 2K, Sony, every big publisher is pretty much
asking me $70 for
WB as well, right? Really, I think the only one of the last holdouts right now is Bandai Namco and maybe Sega.
Have we seen the price on Sonic Frontiers yet?
I don't know. Is Sonic Frontiers 70 or is it 60, guys?
Chat,
let us know.
Does anybody know if Sonic Frontiers is 60 or 70? Let us know.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Mav, and I think this is how I see it. And actually, Jason Max brought up the point that I was going to make too. If I'm looking at this, and Frizzle, you're absolutely correct. He just answered a question, and he was just being truthful about it because.
Yeah, he's setting us to the expectation that there's a chance.
Yeah,
right?
Nothing can stay forever, right? And we all get that as consumers, that things are going to happen, especially when you're adding. How I see this going down is that, and this is without the CMA or any regulatory bodies getting something in writing from Microsoft saying that they won't increase the prices of Game Pass or games, which they could ask for as a concession. That is something that's out there that possibly could happen. So I'm just taking all that off the table. So what I see happening is $70 price point. Starfield's the first game that they charge $70 for.
I would probably agree with you on that.
Yes, I think $70 for Starfield is going to be that first game that shows up. What I see with Game Pass is I think that they hold off on Game Pass through next year, through the holidays, because holiday next year is going to be a gigantic year. If they get out everything that we are expecting them to have out, it'll be their first big year. And I think that Phil and everybody, when they look at holiday next year, they're going to look at that and say, okay, this is another big time for us, because we're going to see a massive explosion as people realize how many games we've put out this year. This is going to be a massive explosion. So I think they hold off through holiday next year. But then, as Jason asked the question, why haven't they rolled in Xbox Live Gold? I think that happens at the beginning of 2024. I think they do away with Xbox Live Gold. That's when we see the price increase, because they got to make up for that lost revenue in Xbox Live Gold. And I think that's when we see that price increase, and they can say, look at what we gave you in 2023. All those games are available. 2024 is going to have basically the same kind of lineup. And we're giving you all our first priorities on firing on all cylinders. We know from here on out, we're going to give you, whatever you want to say, 4 to 8 games, first party, AAA games each year going forward. We have Activision Blizzard in there now. And I think 2024, the beginning, they say no more Xbox Live Gold, but you got to get Game Pass. Yeah. And I think that's when we see the increase.
And I think one thing with them it's not going to change is the ease of access to try Game Pass, right?
Yes.
I think they're still going to have all the crazy promotions to try and get people into the ecosystem. Yep. I mean, you can buy a bag of Doritos right now and get a month of Game Pass.
Right.
Right. So it's like, if you buy your chips, you get to try a Game Pass, right? So I find that something that's going to continue, and people can see after that if the value's there for them right now. But bottom line, currently right now, PlayStation Plus Extra is more expensive than Game Pass monthly, and it's a far inferior service as far as what they offer. So the too good to be true thing was always there for me about the price. I didn't think it would stick long term. However,
No.
We'll see. I mean, is anything's up in the air?
Yeah.
But I'm not with you on the 2024 thing though, Pong.
Okay.
I think for me, I would see it earlier to mid
Okay.
2023 for the Game Pass
Okay.
increase after some of those first party titles hit and
Yeah.
the Riot Games deal
Sure.
hits. I think
Sure.
that plus the other could potentially see them find enough value in there to ask for a couple more bucks.
100%.
We'll see.
And I don't disagree with you. And I look at it this way too: $180 for Game Pass Ultimate for the year. That's 3 regular price $60 games. If they move to the $70 price point, then you're looking at $210 for 3 games. So you'd be looking at like, a $2.50 increase in relative value, the way that they've kind of figured it out now. If they stay in line with that, then that's why I say that.
I'm on board with you. Like that's how they're
Yeah.
going to justify it too, with the $70 games and stuff, right?
Yep.
And if they're going to get big third party AAA games in there too, a lot of those are $70. You know, so it's just the whole $70 thing is still bullshit to me. However,
Yes.
the industry and the audience has accepted it. I've bought games that are $70 because
console players have accepted it because we have no choice.
Yeah.
Because we can't raise the pirate flags.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they don't do it on PC.
Did you and King mention earlier that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 doesn't have 120 frames on PS5?
No, I know. I didn't see that they had confirmed that it wasn't. I saw something today of 110 frames
110
from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that
that's
was
accurate.
campaign. That was campaign, and it was
It's
a
campaign?
different site
Okay.
than like it wasn't Digital Foundry, but they had done the analysis and they said 110 frames. I did see that today.
That's a weird number. I would imagine that's going to be patched out to be hit 100,
Yeah.
120.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that is legit, that's something that they will optimize and they will patch out.
Yeah.
And I saw that the Series S only hit like I can't remember in the campaign it was something lower than that as well, wasn't it? Or was it 120? I can't remember.
The Series S was 90.
90. Yeah.
At
So
10
that was a little weird.
90
I
at
figured
1080
multiplayer would be at 120. So.
1440 60.
Yeah, which is still impressive for that little freaking box, man.
So that was the
graphic
campaign,
intensity.
not the multiplayer number.
Yeah,
So
that was the campaign. Correct.
Okay.
That's why I didn't take into a lot of account.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like 110. Like it's kind of weird. I haven't seen that number pushed before.
And Psycho said that Sonic Frontiers is $60, $70 for the digital deluxe.
Okay,
So,
right
yeah.
on. So Sega's still not on the $70
Yep.
train. I would imagine that would the Yakuza game that they announced would also be 60.
Yakuza Ishin or whatever it is.
yeah,
Ishin, I think it is, yeah.
Like a Dragon Ishii or something like that. I can't remember
Yeah.
the name of it.
Ishii, yeah.
Yeah, so Bandai Namco hasn't done it yet. Sega hasn't done it yet. Capcom, I think, will probably be on the $70 train.
We'll
soon.
see with Resident Evil 4 remake what they
Mhm.
charge that.
That
I think
and
that might be more than number 2 and number 3.
that and Street Fighter
Number-
6.
Yes. Resident Evil 4 is looking freaking insane, Mav. Freaking insane. I
Right.
cannot believe that RE engine. I can't wait
Gorgeous.
for Dragon's Dogma and RE engine.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
great.
forgot that's coming too.
Yes. Yeah, we don't know if it's coming next year. They just started work, so I don't expect that for a few years.
2024, 2025.
Yeah, 2024, 2025, but that game is going to look insane. That is going to be an RPG in the RE engine. Holy cow, is that going to be good looking? Oh my god.
Capcom,
right,
man, they've on a good
Capcom
thing.
is on the way up.
90% digital.
Just Exo Primal is looking freaking fantastic too.
Yeah,
I can't.
it is.
But give me Power Stone, Capcom. Give me Power Stone. I still want Dino Crisis. I know you're not ready yet, but give me Power Stone and I'll be satisfied. That's all I need.
Yeah,
We'll be good. Man, have you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so, man.
Cool. This was a nice, easy conversation. King was freaking amazing. That
Yeah.
hour and a half blew by like 3-bit us last week.
Yeah,
Crazy how fast it goes when you got somebody on and we just
me and you and
Oh.
3-bit were talking for 2 hours, and you said we hit the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
I was like,
what?
really?
We had what, 2 topics? That's all
One,
we
I
had, yeah.
think. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
we
one,
just were
yeah.
like talk. We just
Yeah.
started rambling. I don't
Yeah.
even know like what was
I
going
love
on.
it. Chat, you are all amazing. I know I didn't give you all the regular shout outs like we normally do because King was on limited time, so I didn't want to break it up with anything more in there. But we see you. We appreciate you, everybody in there. Spooky, Lore Master Jasper, of course, Talos Ray, Fuzzy, Jason Max, Psychonauts, Calarie, McGruber in the house, Frizzle, Andrew Cullinane always showing up as well. Caper Grant, great to see you. Shane, brother, always great to see you rocking out in here as well. Poochie, who else we got here? I can grab real quick. Gogo Poe, of course, in here. Deccaddo, once again showing up. Alvin, of course, I can't get a show without saying that. Roshan Eppinger, thank you for being in here as well. Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick, dropping in the house to say hi. Appreciate you, Boom. Why So Serious? It was in here. It's Timmy. It's Timmy is always in here. General Spartan 27, a regular member of our chat as well. Of course, Kaitlin, the beautiful Kaitlin, in here. Again, great job on the thumbnail, Kaitlin. As always, appreciate you for doing that this week. You make the show run. But everybody who is in here, again, we thank you for rocking out with us. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Eve. I believe the launch schedule still is 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for the United States, or Pacific Time, excuse me, Pacific Standard Time for the United States. I still think that's in effect. I know some people have taken the trip to New Zealand, even though Infinity Ward did warn people against that. We know some people personally who've taken the trip already today and are having a good experience with it so far. So not recommending that you do that, but I'm just saying if you can't wait a couple more hours, whatever. Trip to New Zealand doesn't take that long. But you should maybe adjust your Activision account. Maybe. So just throwing that out there. Anyways,
okay, the one thing, can you switch, like, does Activision have any rules about how many times you can switch your
I don't know.
and stuff like
I don't
that?
think so,
You know?
but I don't know. I don't even know if it's necessary. Just some people have said so, but I don't know. I'm gonna wait a couple.
I know some in the chat were saying that they couldn't play online when switching just the region for the console.
Yeah, that might be the case. And again, Infinity Ward, for all fairness, did put the warning out. So whether or not how much you believe that, whatever, it is what it is. So I don't know why they're against that, but I mean, I guess with something as big as Modern Warfare 2, because of how much hype there is behind it, like it's one thing for a regular game, but it's another thing to overload those servers.
Yeah,
like crazy with Modern Warfare fans. But if you haven't played through the campaign, well worth it. I disagree with the IGN opinion. Again, that's all it is, an opinion piece. But I disagree with that gentleman wholeheartedly. I definitely would put this up there as an 8, 8.5 probably. I did find a couple missions that were kind of annoying, but the story, the graphics, the gunplay, everything about this game was simply amazing. Again, I couldn't stop playing it. I had to finish it before the multiplayer came out. That's why I finished it off last night. So get out there, play it, have fun. If you guys are going to hit the servers tonight, we'll see you out there on the battlefield. But Math, get everybody out of here, brother. Tell them where they can find you and what you got coming up here.
right here, right now, here on Fun Speculation. Or tonight we're going to be playing some multiplayer. I haven't decided if we're going to try and hit it earlier or if we're going to wait till 11 our time, which is what time it's supposed to be launching. I don't know about the whole account Activision thing, so I'm going to look into that and we'll see. But definitely streaming some COD multiplayer tonight, so tune into that. And other than that, guys, we got Xbox Ultimate on Friday. Tomorrow night, we're going to have a blast. Make sure you tune into that show because you'll have a lot of fun, as always. And Mondays, we got a Fun Speculation podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern. And I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to start trying to dabble in doing some reviews on FSP. Yeah. You're muted, Pong.
I was saying nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
We'll do it in a different way, kind of. Not like I wanted. If we, like I've said for a long time, like if we did it, I want to do it the right way. So this would be more of like a Fun Spec fam, aggregate thing, right? To where, and I put out a poll what people want. They seem to want numbers, but I'm still kind of leaning towards just, like a bad, good, a mediocre, good, and like excellent type system. And
Jasper would ruin the number system because he would always be like a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But yeah, I was looking at finding a way to do it. I have also dabbled with the idea that I might be doing audio, or not audio, but a YouTube version of the review on Shorts, for YouTube Shorts, for like a 1 minute, like quick take, right? And as always, you can see us streaming the games and stuff like that as well. But look for some more content coming in that regard. But also I wanted to real quick shout out to Star Ocean for getting decent reviews out there.
Did it?
Yeah, the last game didn't do so well, and
Well,
this
there
is
was
now
problems with the demo supposedly, so
yeah.
maybe they fixed some of that. What do they got it at? What's open critic?
Let me see. I saw somebody tweet about it. It was in the 70s, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, Star Ocean. Let me see. Where is it? I don't see it on Meta.
Do open critic. Open
Yeah,
critic's the
hold
better
on.
one because they put everything together. I like open critic. Open critic rocks. If I'm gonna look at reviews, it is sitting at a 73 right now on open critic.
That's pretty good
For a Star Ocean game,
yeah.
yes, that's actually very good for a Star Ocean game.
I really loved 4, right?
Yeah.
I really loved 4.
I go all the way back with Star Oceans, but Tri-Ace used to be up there with your Square Enix. Tri-Ace used to put out games that were same kind of quality as a Final Fantasy. I like Tri-Ace, but then they stopped getting. They never grew.
Yeah.
And they became a AA JRPG maker.
IGN gave it a better score than Call of Duty Campaign. IGN gave it a 7.
Yeah.
WCCF Tech gave it an 8.
Nice.
You got a lot of. You got it digitally downloaded, gave it a 9 or 4.5 out of 5. You know.
Yeah.
13 reviews and all pretty positive on the game. Yeah. So, for JRPG fans, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there. But anyways, thanks everybody again for tuning in to everything we do here. I appreciate you all. Pong Soul, tell the people, you know, why you're the best host on Fun Speculation and also where they can find you.
Once again, folks, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, episode 48. This was a big one. Again, shout out to King David from Iron Lords Podcast for joining us. Shout out to the Iron Lords and everything they do over there. Again, big inspiration for a lot of people in this community, but it was fantastic to have King on here. Thank you, chat, for all coming on in. Again, we hit over 100. We have been consistent with that no matter what. We love to see it. We love the familiar faces. We love the new faces popping in here. And after shows have been being watched a lot. So if you're watching this from the future, listen, we appreciate you just as much. Nothing but love and respect to everybody who comes out to not only this show, but every other show as well. And of course, supporting the Fun Speculation channel and family. We love you. So thank you all for that. It was a great show, Mav.
Pong, before you get to the rest of your outro real quick, did we get to the Caper Grant super chat for $5 earlier?
No, I don't think we did. Did I miss one?
I was stepping in and out because I had some work stuff going on, but sorry for missing that for so long, Caper.
Sorry, Caper.
Yeah, Caper Grant 692 hit us with a $5 super chat earlier. He said, "Great to see King on today. Always a great listen. Man knows his stuff." Absolutely.
Appreciate that, Caper.
He does know his stuff, and we're very lucky for him to be able to join us today. So appreciate King David and everybody in the chat as well. So continue.
Appreciate you.
Sorry
Caper.
about that.
Thank you so much. No, that was too important. I'm sorry we missed that, Caper. We don't like to do that, but I was obviously trying to stay focused on unlimited technology and then with Mav stepping out, but no excuses. Appreciate that, Caper Grant, for sure. So again, you guys can find me Pong Soul Xbox, Pong Soul Twitter. You guys all know the drill there. Tomorrow night I will be hitting Xbox Ultimate at some point with the rest of the family, whether it's the beginning of the show or a little bit later. We'll find out tomorrow. I never know. But of course, I will be there and we're gonna have a great time. Lots to talk about, and we'll probably try to make it quick so we can go play some multiplayer Call of Duty because we need to get our time in on that. But otherwise, you know what you got to do, and I'm gonna send out a reminder tomorrow at some point, hopefully right in the morning, this Friday, for Living Split Screen. Saturday morning, set those alarms, set those reminders, get ready. Steele and I will obviously have a lot to cover this week. It hasn't been the biggest news week, but Steele and I, again, we could have one topic and talk for 4 hours. So just be there for Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. BST time. Buckle up. Be ready. Live, raw, and uncut coming at you Saturday morning. And then Saturday night, of course, it is the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam on PTK Blam's channel with our brother from another, Fuzzy Belvedere, as well, and myself as we break down the week's news there. Great way to end your Saturday night. Bring your questions. We'll probably have time this week as the news is a little bit lighter. So PTK opens up second part of the show. Whatever time we got remaining, any questions, any topics, you put them in the chat and we will get to them. That is the Shop Podcast on PTK Blam's channel, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Next Tuesday is, of course, Xbox Factor Podcast with Mr. Boomstick over at Double Barrel Gaming. You already know 5 days a week, but Tuesdays is All Good Things Green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Be there or be square, as we used to say. And then, of course, back here again next Thursday, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Who knows what news is going to break next week, but you will find it right here with us two, where we just like to catch up and BS with you. And if we got a guest, we got a guest. But I think next week we are back to a two-man show as normal, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, right here. So otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. Get out there. Play what you love what you play. If you're playing Modern Warfare 2, we will see you out there. Happy hunting. If you're not playing Modern Warfare 2, my God, there's a million other games to play right now. Get out there, enjoy it. Have a great rest of your week tomorrow, and have a great weekend. And Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Peace, everybody. Mohawk Mav out. Later.